All right. I think we're live. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. All right, got a confirmation from the chat. Thank you for that confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 546, Black Geopolitics. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Docket and description, mute the video for you to follow along with. If you want to engage in this discussion, there'll be a link in the chat for you to click on. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. Also, make sure that your Zoom app has been updated to 5.0.4 before joining the panel. Make sure you have the latest update. Let me give a shout out to the people in the chat who showed up first. China White, good evening to you. T.D. Burns, peace to you as well. DJ Mars, peace. Excalibur, salute. Mega Montana, peace to you. DJ Mars. Black Scorpion, what it do? Aqua Techie, good evening to you. Jackson J, Knowledge Seeker. Zone. Hard Fork Rich, what it do, what it do. Black Torch, what it do, man. Yeah, let's get it in, man. It's gonna be a good night, man. It's gonna be a good night. We're gonna chop up some serious game. Let me grab the link for you all. All right. Let me actually grab my phone. Oh, my watch is dying, man. All right, just give me a few seconds, man. Let me charge my watch real quick. Dave Monroe, what it do, man? Good evening to you. All right, man. Let me pull up the first item on the docket so that people have a clear understanding of why we're having this discussion. Okay, Roland Martin, back in late 2018, had a short segment about the black male vote being a concern. Okay, let's chop it up though.
On this issue, so it's very, very interesting. So you had folks like that dude Tariq out there. Oh no, there's no agenda. So you shouldn't vote. Then somebody told me that Corey Holcomb was saying somebody said he gave these valid reasons why.
Fair use. Fair use. We do not claim to be the owners of this content, so fair use.
Why you shouldn't vote. Here to me, I think is part of the issue. One, the people who have for years sold the notion that if you only vote,
right,
that changes things. That's nuts, because you can't just only vote. I always say voting is the end of one process at the beginning of another. The other thing is, I believe you have to also connect the dots. Right. Because the reality is most people really don't understand the role that government plays in their lives every single day. Yep. To have somebody say, well, yeah, like literally one brother said, yeah, the people who run for DAs, they're part of the same system. Krasner in Philadelphia comes in and is changing the system as DA. Yep. Amaris Ayala in Florida. Craig Watkins, when he became the first DA in Dallas County, put into place a program to retest significant cases. More than 30 individuals, mostly Black, who were convicted in prison, some as many as 20 and 30 years, were let go because the DNA was retested. That doesn't happen if that Black DA is not there. Yep. And so we can't act as if you don't have Black people of conscience who run for positions who say, I'm gonna do the right thing in the position, and then go, well, no, they not real, they bougie. I mean, at some point, you can't satisfy some of these folks, Leo.
But Roland, see, you are brilliant, educated, and a political, you know what time it is, the day it happened, whose mama it was, and what day it turned blue. I mean, you know all this stuff. A lot of people in our community, and I'm not saying this is a good idea, and I agree with what you're saying in terms of the logic of it. But as I say over and over again, unfortunately, a lot of us are not coming from a place of logic. We come from a place of impulse. And when people come from a place of impulse and emotion, they rely on optics. And Black males feel like they've been let down over and over again, including by Barack Obama.
Yes.
Who never directly addressed Black men, not unless there was a Trayvon Martin crisis, and it was even abstract at that. So a lot of brothers are watching the landscape and seeing police brutality still being there. Some people seeing Black men still being murdered, wondering what the Congressional Black Caucus is doing, which appears from their perspective, they're doing nothing. And they feel like while they're dealing with being followed around the store and all the other traumas that Black men deal with, that there's nobody in the explicit ways. Everything is all abstract, and and then we have these Black women affirmations around their voting power. And Black men are not addressed, are not spoken to, they don't exist. They feel like it's all irrelevant. So what you're saying is all true, but it's all abstract, and people are not really understanding that.
Reality perception.
And that's why, to me, why having the information where you can say, no, this happened, this happened, this happened. I literally had one woman who said, well, Roland, you got to really, hear both sides. And I said, by not voting. I said, sister, I said, I can't hear that side. I said, now I'm listening to you. I understand what you're saying. And I said, and I can walk you through why I disagree with it. I said, but the problem I had, she says, well, I got a Black son and change is not happening fast enough. And I'm going, look, first of all, that's been the mantra of Black people for 399 years, not happening fast enough. I think what has to happen is, and this is to me also the difference that we don't see today, what Reverend Barber has been trying to do. The beauty of SCLC, the beauty of CORE, the beauty of, and I can't wait to, guys, we're going to replay the interview that I did with Reverend Dr. James Lawson, one of our greatest mobilizers, organizers, and thinkers. The biggest difference that we have is we don't have these institutions, the citizenship education training. Dr. Dorothy Cotton, who just died a few months ago, she was over the SCLC's citizenship education training. This is what she said in her book, and even when I interviewed her. And guys, we have that interview. It's also on my YouTube channel. When you came into SCLC, you didn't say, I want to join SCLC, then boom, you went to the meeting. No.
But what year was this?
This was in the 60s.
That's what I thought.
No, but follow me here. But that's why I'm trying to get us to say what's old ain't old. Yeah. It can also be new. When you came in,
it's environmentally old.
This is what they did. They said, first of all, I need to find out who you are, how you think, and frankly, where you stand. And then they said they had to reprogram folks where they were. And then when they passed, then sent them back out.
Yeah.
We got to have citizen training. We got to actually have sessions teaching people about civics, teaching people about actually what is happening, as opposed to walking around going, oh, ain't nothing happening.
Well, I think it's what you said, earlier when you started off and saying that there's been a failure to connect the dots. Because for years, we've been told, especially the Black communities, that you just need to vote. The whole, whether it's vote or die or any of the other slogans, we've been told that the only thing that we need to do is vote. And so there's real no explanation beyond the fact that we needed to vote. And so you have politicians for generations.
And folks voted, and they're kind of like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah. So what else?
Disappeared.
2 years.
Yeah. So what else?
Or you
Then they didn't vote next time because then nothing happened.
And
From their perspective.
because
Right.
after the election, then it was like, okay, you still got to show up. You
Right.
still got
Hold them
to.
accountable.
It's a 24/7, 365 process. I mean, and I agree with it. It falls on the politicians, it falls on the candidate, it falls on the organization's responsibility to keep folks engaged, to keep voters engaged. So you see the small wins. So you see if I give a historical point, when Ted Kennedy died and Scott Brown got elected in 2009 in his seat, that was a small win that helped catapult Republicans taking the House in 2010. That was a small win. When Doug Jones won last year, that was a small win that folk could see and touch and experience that helped propel what happened yesterday.
Cleo.
If we want Black people to vote, particularly Black men, but everybody should vote who's Black and everybody else, but I'm talking about the people who feel the most alienated from my own research and observation.
Right.
We have to not just say, look, you better vote and you better, come to break down with all these theoretical facts that you often break down. We have to actually take seriously and engage their perspective, their worldview. I mean, back when Lawson was doing things, Black people were less confused. We're now very, very confused. You got Black folks all in large with blonde hair.
Sustained.
Okay.
Cleo, in court, sustained means the judge agrees.
Okay. I should have known
Cleo
that.
did not say who's the best man.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I did not. But I'm telling you that.
Go ahead.
That Black folks, the other day I was in Baltimore and I saw, well, I probably shouldn't say this, that'd be too controversial. Anyway, Black folks are confused.
Well,
Brandon.
hold on. Cleo, then Brandon.
I want to back that up. Black people are confused and are being chastised for being confused. Our youth are ahistorical and being chastised for being ahistorical. And people don't understand that people don't know that they don't know that they don't know.
Hold on. I'm coming to you, Brandon. But I got to say this here. Because y'all, so I tweeted this photo of me yesterday with my Black Voters Matter hoodie on. And I said, you need to vote because Trayvon Martin can't, because Jordan Davis can't, because Aiyana Jones can't, Rekia Boyd can't. So I've had some people on my side, I'm like, oh man, you out of touch with how you raising up the dead to force folks to vote. And I said, you do know that we said Jimmy Lee Jackson was killed in Selma. And that's what that precipitated a bloody Sunday. I said, you do know when the death of Medgar Evers and the 4 girls in Birmingham. I said, not the king. I go on and on. I said, you act like it's new that we've said when somebody Black has been killed and then you're fighting for social justice. And we said, vote because they can't. And these people like, oh, you out of touch because you shouldn't be using their names. And I'm going, have you read a book? Do you even understand that this ain't new with Black people? I got to go to Brandon. I'm gonna come back to Cleo.
Quickly, you're talking about being misinformed. One of my favorite quotes Denzel Washington said, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch, you're uninformed. To that very point, I think we're a victim of our own culture nowadays. We got a 24-hour news network. You got instant gratification with social media. People have short attention spans nowadays, and education system's not controlled by us. And so I agree to your point, Roland. You're talking about having civic lessons and trying to retrain our minds. You talked about before, I think, the weakness of modern day sororities, fraternities, nonprofits, and churches in that atmosphere. I think that's where the focus needs to go to having that resurgence.
And to Cleo's point, again, I've talked to these brothers and I'm listening to them, and what I'm trying to get them to do, and also it's another great interview we did with Ali Sadiq, with part of the Beat Woke deal. So trust me, we're going to be we posted those interviews. We're going to be kicking those interviews out so you can actually see them in its entirety. Because trust me, there's a reason why I'm doing those interviews. Because the thing is, yes, people are saying, well, I'm not seeing progress fast enough. But progress has never been fast. Right. It's never been fast. And for me, if I got an option between giving up
Or keep going.
and keep going, I can't give up.
Right.
And so that education is important. And I'm talking about, and then so my issue is, so the reason last night I called out Tariq and I called out Jason Whitlock. And then when somebody told me, well, Corey Holt, I'm gonna call all these cats out, because my deal is, when you have a platform, you have a responsibility with a platform.
Yeah.
The question is, what do you do with your platform? And if your deal is, oh, they all corrupt, I ain't voting, just pray to God and return to the family, all is gonna be well. When I asked Jason Whitlock, I said, okay, fine, Jason. Let's say you believe that the home should be a mama and a daddy, and they believe in God. Well, say, well, fine. Let's say you got a black family, daddy there, love mama, they families together, they go to church on Sunday, they go to Bible study on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I said, and when they walk out that door, the kids going to sorry schools. Now what we gonna do? They love Jesus and they got a whole great family. What we gonna do? And he couldn't answer the question.
Right. And that's one of the things that
the reason that we know, and I didn't, hey, it's your fault I'm bringing them up, Roland. The reason we know who Jason is because white people approve of Jason. What if the fact that white people approve of Jason and appreciate the confusing anti-black rhetoric that he says, we wouldn't even know he exists. And white people always parade, the white media always parading confused black folks or somewhere on television every chance they get. Charles Barkley, even going on so they can create confusion among black people. And unfortunately, it works. So you cannot ask Jason Whitlock a rational question about black people, because his whole frame of reference and point of view and his whole theories are anti-black.
Yeah, well, and I think what we're talking about is voter apathy. And so the reason for voter apathy, I can use my community. I live in DC's Ward 8. And during the midterms, I think we had about 8%. 8% of our residents voted. Only 8%. I think we're up to 30% now. But when you talk to people and you hear the reasons, this is, of course, DC has always been run by Democrats. There have been no Republicans to run DC, and the schools are some of the worst in the nation. The crime is bad. The development, there's a lot of what people are talking about with gentrification and development. I'm going on a show after I leave here to actually talk about gentrification. But these are things that have happened in Democratic cities. And I think one of the things that I like to be mindful of is that I don't think this is something, voter apathy is not something that's isolated to black people. It's not. So if you're in West Virginia, you probably don't know the same reasons that you're voting for your candidate.
Disproportionate problem. That's black.
Yesterday, 2 out of 5 Americans didn't vote.
Yeah.
So it's not all racial boundaries. Apathy is not an issue just for that. Going back to the 2016 election, 51% of Americans didn't vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, and so it's those who vote who are having a say, and that doesn't represent necessarily.
Most of them are voting though, compared to us.
I am going to make the point again that between now and the next local election, between the 2020 presidential election, what is required is massive citizenship training.
Yeah.
What Reverend Barber has been doing with repairs of the breach and the Poor People's Campaign, they have been going to these places and they have not been holding rallies. They've been holding training sessions. They've been holding teaching. Reverend Dr. Jim Lawson and the Nashville movement, he told me something that was amazing. He said they spent 3 months discussing why they were doing what they were doing. Then the next 3 months, it was what they're going to do. Folks, that's 6 months
That's a plan.
of them sitting down, conversing, hashing out your crazy idea, your crazy idea, your crazy idea, your crazy idea. He said it was all this back and forth. He said, because what we were trying to do had never been done before. He said, so we need to know what the hell we were even doing. And so, and it was amazing because again, walking that through it and see when we talk about Diane Ash and James Bevel and all these people, they all came out of Lawson's Nashville movement. They were trained before they even got to Dr. King and SCLC. They went through training. We have people and a lot of Black Lives Matter activists, and I'll say this, a lot of them were doing the training as well. But the issues that we have is we have to have that massive training. That's where the dots are connected. And that's where people go, oh, I ain't realized that person impacts this and that impacts this. Now I see why you saying you got to vote.
I agree with that. The trainings, but not in an echo chamber. I want to credit you with having a diversity of thought in the discussions. It's needed.
No, I said training. I didn't say.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm adding to your point.
Training means everybody.
I'm adding to your point. It's not always going to understand, but you recognize that value of that. I'll make sure.
Training means everybody. Training means everybody.
Not everybody recognizes that. I'm agreeing with you.
Leo.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but I also want to reiterate that back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, we were a lot less confused about what our enemies and what our adversaries look like. Right now, some of us got more blonde hair than white folks. I'm talking about right now. So my point is that we need contextual discussions like what you said, but we also need to address the scar tissue that have resulted from years of no conversation and that has festered into mass confusion and people being alienated out of this whole process.
All right, man. Let me bring somebody in from the panel. Black Torch from the Going 11. What's going on, man? Zone, thank you for your help.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
Chilling, man. What do you think about that segment?
I think, they're talking about, that black people don't have a historical context. We're sitting back here kind of...
segment about... Go ahead.
Yeah, about, we don't know what's going on in the past. We as a black group, we need to sit back here and really understand what's really going on out here, which is absolutely the truth. People losing a sense of what really has gone on and what's really affecting us. We don't know who your real enemies are, if you will, and you're out here sleeping, and I'm thinking you're gonna move forward in this game. It's crazy. So, we start, and I like to bring the context of as a black political party or black male political party to really, put our interests ahead and move forward out here and really get these conversations going. I think it's quintessential, to our survival. So that's how I feel about that. If I'm jumping the gun a little bit, I'm going to say that. But I think what these guys are talking about here is pretty accurate.
Well, good evening, panel. Good evening, Mike.
Hey, Torch, what's up, man? Como vai? Tudo bem?
Tudo bom, você? Tudo bom.
Tá bom, trabalhando muito, relaxando agora, né?
Okay, listen, they're partly right, but the thing that they're missing is that in the 60s, black women split from black males. They had their own agenda, and you see it playing out now. Black men now are seeing their own agenda. We're seeing when they got identity politics and when they had the third wave and fourth wave, that's when the split really happened. Who's wearing blonde wigs? Who's wearing blonde hair? It's not the black men.
Well, they can point to C.J. King if they wanted to really do that, but
well, come on, but you know what I'm saying. Who's the one with the green and all this other stuff? Come on, the majority of black men, they walking around like that. And what I'm saying is that it's more than that. I think right now, those guys are the ones who scared, because black men are realizing that the Republican Party or the Democratic Party ain't got its interests at heart. Didn't you notice that you got two black guys on there who were Republicans and the other ones was clearly, and they said, oh, we got to have lessons learned by Black Matters people. That's what they said. I thought that was scary, because these are the same one that says the alphabet community and black women come first. So I'm trying to figure out, as a black male living in the belly of the beast, we know better than all these other people what we need. We need our own autonomy, and we need us to lead them to leave us the fuck alone.
okay.
You ain't getting at this without a fight, so ain't nobody.
Well, then hey, you know what they say. If you can't get what you want here, you go someplace else, and that's what I'm really thinking about that every day. I think more and more about that. I think sometimes we might just have to regroup and get the hell out of Dodge.
I think that's accurate, but I also believe in if these guys are running a stand your ground law, I think we need to start playing stand our ground. I think it's about time for that as well. People like my great grandfather fought in this war where they had a no quarter policy held on you in the field, and he survived. He survived some of the most savage combat that existed. So I'm here. I'm here because of that. So at the end of the day, stay your ground. Also stand our ground as well. Fuck these mayonnaise motherfuckers. I just look at me and my boy in the gym running around here 3 times as strong than everybody up in there. They hating on us because we're too fucking strong. We too live like that. Fuckers wasn't digging that shit. That's what we are.
But come on, you know that from the beginning. They hate us because of that.
Stand your fucking ground. We look good. We strong as fuck. We don't give a fuck. They gonna try to tear you out the frame because of that. That's just how it is. Stay your fucking ground. That's my view. Get your gun permits. Get your body right. Get our political game right as well. We need to start forming a Voltron. We need to start forming up. That's what we have to. It's clear. Your work is cut out for you. The Shine Bone. I saw Shine Bone yesterday on TV crying about this man with his foot on his neck. And the Shine Bone was sitting there crying, saying, I know Trump's not a racist and all that, but look what's going on in our country. They're killing us. Ooh. The Shine Bone is waking up to this now. The Shine Bone Mooly is seeing what's going on. He's sitting there saying, oh shit, these motherfuckers ain't playing. So this is clear to you now. This is clear. Stand your ground. All you guys walk around here, I ain't no punk, man. Talk about like a punk, you's a sucker. If you ain't getting your ass fucking right, you ain't getting fucking totally butter laid, not on the mind, but you're in their body and everything else. Get your gun permits and all that shit. Get in that goddamn gym, get strong as fuck. Get your ass together and start thinking like you're in Sparta. This is the 300. This is where your ass is at.
All right, let's go to Renaissance.
You want me to shut the fuck up, but at the end of the day, this is where we're at. I'm tired of people sitting here not recognizing what's going on right now. It's been going on far too long. Enough of this.
Hey, what's up, panel?
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Hey.
I watch Roland Martin a good bit. He's streaming all the time, so I've seen that segment before. He is one of the people who has talked about, at the very least, Democrats are going to have to talk to black men. It seems like at least from what I've seen and over the years, it seems like what has ended up happening is black people have been very too open with our struggle and with coalition building, so much so that we've let our needs go neglected. And I think also sort of black women being out front, I think women have a tendency to do that a little bit more than men do. So if you don't have a party, you at least need an agenda. You need something to rally around and say, hey, if you get in office, we need these things enacted. As far as what Black Torch was saying, as far as, he thinks about leaving this country, I have the same thoughts as well. I definitely think, Mike, with what you're doing is definitely a blueprint of what black people need to be doing, getting your skills up, making sure they're valuable skills that you can go anywhere and be valuable with and go build those connections abroad. So even if you don't move over there, you got connections where if you want to spend half the year there, or, things get hot over here and you need to go where while things get riled up over here and settle down, you have that option as well. So definitely don't think we need to keep all our bags in the American basket.
Okay. Let me play this clip real quick, man, from the Washington Post. Biden needs black women voters. This is how to win them, starting with a VP pick. I can't make this up, bro.
You need us. You owe us.
Black women are miracle workers.
We have been saving the Democratic Party since 1965.
2020 is no different.
Your only path to victory is through black.
Whoa, what the fuck was that?
We need to turn out. We know how to help black.
Wait, Nagone, let him finish.
Mute yourself, bro. Mute yourself.
The following commitments will begin to show black voters that you are serious about us.
America needs a black woman vice president.
Candidates like Amy Klobuchar will not energize us. America needs a black woman Supreme Court justice.
Remember Anita Hill? We do.
America needs more in a comprehensive Black agenda.
The rules are rigged against our communities.
Whether we are talking about a Black person who died of COVID-19 because of the lack of access to healthcare,
or Ahmaud Arbery being killed by vigilantes,
or Breonna Taylor, an EMT killed by police while laying in her bed. We deserve solutions that address systemic racism, economic injustice, and domestic terrorism.
Joe Biden, you enacted drug and crime laws that harmed the Black community for generations.
Every major crime bill since 1976, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
You say you know better now. Show us you're serious by doing better.
This country has a problem.
police officers and vigilantes are killing us, and our quality of life must improve.
Joe Biden, this must be addressed.
You must address our oppression, and most importantly, embrace our power to win the White House.
Vice President Biden, your campaign's mission is to restore the soul of America.
There is no restoration without us.
All right, y'all heard it.
I'm stunned.
I'm tired.
I told you that they were. This is what I'm telling you. From that.
Hold on a second. During the 60s,
hold on a second.
who's on the front lines? Who's on the front lines? Who's on the front lines of civil rights? Who started all that? The Big Six and all them. Who's that?
Hold on. Let's go to Renaissance. He has his hand raised. Then we'll go to everybody else.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm a fallback, man. I'm a fallback. I'm tired. This shit is crazy. This is crazy. I'm chilling. I'm sorry, Renaissance man. Do you think?
No, you're good to go, and I understand you're passionate. No, all I was gonna say is it kind of shows the problem with our community there, that we are so caught up in symbolism in this. I mean, I heard this before. Everyone is talking about a Black woman vice president. Everyone's talking about a Black woman Supreme Court justice. But I'm like, we've seen that is not necessarily correlated to policies being enacted that are positive. And that's what I think is so problematic. I mean, obviously, the assertions that are made in this video that Black women are the backbone of the party, I get all that. I've heard all that. I'm not surprised for it. I'm just surprised how much, especially after Obama, how much people are so caught up in an image and not a policy.
Go ahead, Black Torch.
Yeah. You see what I was talking about when I was saying that the women have made a distinctive, Black women have made a distinctive separation from us. And they continue to, they use us when there's a dead body, so to show incarceration. But look at those groups. Did they say a Black person, or they say a Black woman? A Black woman this, a Black woman that. In Harris County, Texas, they elected 16 Black women to the courts. Do you think Black
incarceration in Atlanta?
Yeah, and you think Black incarceration went down? No, we got to realize the only way for Black males to move forward, we got to realize what's going on. They have been educated from long before Black males were able to be educated, because there was no law against Black women being educated, but it was always a law against Black men being educated. So we got to realize what's really going on.
Black women are moving around like they are their own interest group, almost their own party, they're running like they're running their own game. You are ancillary to that. You're ancillary to that, and they're sitting up here talking lies. But you're sitting back here. They're building their reputation on your back, and they're sitting here. You're not even putting you on the table. Any Black man who doesn't see this and doesn't understand this is crazy. Got to have our own parties. We got to have our own parties. These people are moving as if they are their own group, and they fundamentally are. You have to look at this. We're the ones who've been pulled up the party since 1965. Where's my man C Boogie? The nerve of these niggas. The nerve of these niggas. Can you believe this? Nah, man. I don't. Nah. See, I'm gonna go ham up in this motherfucker. I got to chill. But anyway, you go. You guys go ahead, man. Y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
Let me jump to this next, the last item on the docket. This one is from Brookings.edu. To win Black men's votes in 2020, save your slogans and speak to our priorities. Despite Super Bowl ads, targeted outreach to HBCUs, and even handing out envelopes of cash, presidential candidates are missing why some Black male voters feel invisible in the 2020 election. If they were listening to Black men, they would hear, unsure if I even want to vote this time. I understand why Black men feel left out. It's just a lot of hate for us. These comments capture the perception and oftentimes the reality that Black men are omitted from policy decision making. Successful candidates must work harder to understand Black men's priorities and speak to our aspirations for a better future. Save your slogans and your sound bites. Black men are looking for an authentic plan to address economic growth in Black communities, vocational and technological training that aligns with jobs, access to social services, and criminal justice reform. Hey, this guy's in the manosphere. Anyways, simply put, Black men prioritize the economy similar to most men, regardless of race or social class. Work is intrinsically tied to Black men's identities and how they value themselves. When the impact of work is weakened, it affects all aspects of their lives. While President Trump is touting low unemployment numbers, the unemployment rate of Black men in cities with low job growth, such as Memphis, Detroit, and Newark, is quadruple that of whites in those cities and significantly higher than the Black rate overall. Furthermore, the unemployment rate only includes people who are actively seeking jobs. Some Black men have opted out of the labor market because of dismal opportunities. Many Black men who are working are underpaid, have subpar work benefits, and struggle to put food on the table. There is a lack of high quality jobs in geographic areas where most Black men live. The work deficits in cities such as Detroit, Cleveland, and Baltimore are systematic, a result both of historical legacy and current policies of redlining, restrictive covenants, and racism. Predominantly Black cities have job sectors with slow growth and are removed from economic hubs, best positioned for future opportunities. Based on job growth potential, Black men are underrepresented in the best 15 occupations and overrepresented in the bottom 15 occupations for men. Black Americans are mostly concentrated in low-wage jobs that have unstable benefits and are most likely to be in occupations susceptible to technical displacement. Production, food service, retail, and clerical work. Education and health professions, two occupations most resistant to technical displacement, should be a focus of vocational and technical training in predominantly Black communities. How many times have we talked about that on here? However, Black men do not represent a large share in either of these fields. Not only are Black men left out of the mainstream labor market, they are also being left out of the gig economy. A big source of frustration for Black men is their omission from the drug industry, including the legalization of marijuana and the manufacturing of opioids. The total retail value of hemp-related products was estimated to be $820 million in 2017. Marijuana possession helped to single-handedly incarcerate hundreds of thousands of Black males over the past 30 years. As a group, Black men are disproportionately incarcerated for nonviolent drug offenses. Yet that same group is mostly failing to reap rewards from federal and state level efforts to legalize hemp and marijuana products. Those economic benefits flow mostly to their white counterparts. Furthermore, crack cocaine, which had huge disparities in sentencing relative to powder cocaine, was viewed through the policy lens of criminalization, whereas the opioid epidemic is viewed through the policy lens of addiction and treatment. To policymakers, crack cocaine users were criminals who posed a public safety threat, while opioid users are victims in need of public health assistance. The dichotomy of criminal addict alters how people are able to get access and utilize social services. Keon Gilbert at St. Louis University has done extensive research on Black men's healthcare utilization. He finds that Black men struggle to navigate the moving parts of healthcare. Gilbert elected to work with organizations like 100 Black Men who are taking health and social services directly to communities. 100 Black Men is a national organization that improves the educational and economic opportunities for young people most susceptible to the school to prison pipeline. With the St. Louis chapter, Gilbert created the Barbershop Tour, which conducts health screenings at barbershops and gives Black men advice on how to navigate social services. On the topic of social services, Black men have a contentious relationship with child support agencies, judges, and courts that continue to inhibit their ability to spend quality time with their children. Defying stereotypes, studies show that Black men compared to men in other racial groups are more likely to bathe children, play, and read to their children, take children to activities, help with homework, and talk with children about their day. Yet the narrative about Black fathers rarely includes these important outcomes. Concerns about social services are largely absent when discussing Black men. Trump and his team recognize that if they can continue disenfranchising returning citizens, make other Black men feel further marginalized by the Democratic Party, and appeal to college-educated Black men. 1 in 6 college-educated Black men voted for Trump in 2016. They set up a recipe for winning the Black male vote, even if they technically lose in raw numbers. Black men who vote for Trump are often highly educated, more fiscally conservative, and extremely religious. Political messages about abortion and Planned Parenthood aiming to dismantle the Black community resonate with them. Still, what happens in the South Carolina primary and on Super Tuesday may tell us a lot. What will occur in the 2020 presidential election? South Carolina will test Joe Biden's hold on Black voters when compared to Bernie Sanders relative to their voting groups. Black Americans report being most likely to support Mike Bloomberg. This is who could use Super Tuesday as a way to change the landscape of the 2020 election. For now, Tom Steyer seems positioned to acquire votes in South Carolina. Elizabeth Warren, though getting on the ground support from John Legend in South Carolina, is polling low with Black Americans, as is Amy Klobuchar. Pete Buttigieg struggled to address policing, criminal justice reform, and racism in his mid-sized city of South Bend in Indiana. Therefore, Blacks are leery of his ability to address race on a national scale. Bloomberg has a troubling legacy in the criminal justice space as well. However, his track record of success with the economy might outweigh this legacy, even with Black men. With Bloomberg's Greenwood initiative that he delivered in Tulsa, the site of the Black Wall Street massacre, he has gained support from several Black members of Congress and mayors, including in Washington, DC's Muriel Bowser and Little Rock's Frank Scott Jr. Though Bloomberg has apologized for his handling of stop and frisk policies in New York City, some Black men question his sincerity based on his previous comments and actions, as a 2011 study of 700,000 stops in New York City found that less than 2% of the stops resulted in discovery of contraband or a weapon. However, over 50% of the stops were of Black males, and half of the time that physical force was used, the victim was Black. Despite this, some Black men that I talked to report being willing to deal with Bloomberg's poor track record on policing, because Bloomberg is a moderate Democrat who has a plan for addressing the jobs and infrastructure deficits in Black communities. Though many political candidates and policymakers are now realizing the detrimental effects of stop and frisk and 3-strike policies, the bipartisan First Step Act should expand to include more vocational and technical training for returning citizens and investments to grow the local economies of predominantly Black cities. Policymakers such as Nashville Metro Councilman Brandon Taylor understands this. For him, the 2020 election is more than just about defeating Trump. Taylor who is undecided about who he will vote for on Super Tuesday, aims to illuminate the lack of infrastructure in his district and implement a series of policies relating to reentry and reparations to better the lives of people in the Nashville zip code. Heading into March, Democratic candidates will aim to build on the 2018 midterm election turnout numbers, increase the voter turnout from 2016, and match the excitement of the 2008-2012 presidential campaigns of Barack Obama, though turnout among Blacks was lower in 2016 than in 2012 or 2008. Black men still turn out at higher rates than Latino and Asian men. Given what I laid out as key issues for Black men, it will be tough for Democratic candidates to convince Black men they should be trusted, or that Black men will be seen as an integral part of the political process. As a 40-year-old Black man from Atlanta who is a returning citizen and a single father of a preteen told me, when Obama was in office, it was one of the first times I felt seen in politics. I think this guy's in the manosphere. I have to look up Rayshawn Ray. Name seems familiar. I don't know. Oh wait, my mic was on mute the whole time.
We heard you. We heard everything.
All right,
we heard everything, man.
Let's go to Renaissance.
No, I was just gonna say quickly, as you were reading the article, the ironic thing that stood out to me was the fact that when you look at the interest of Black men, what they're talking about in this article, with the exception really of the abortion issue, a lot of those issues fall right into the Democratic platform. So it's like it just really drives home the point of why are you ignoring this demographic that is has voted for you in such high numbers, and it's not like it's something that would really split your platform. It's something you usually stand for already with, things like job retraining programs, educational investment, infrastructure investment, things along those lines. So
they want to push the female perspective ahead of yours. Sociological move. They're trying to literally feminize your community even more and marginalize Black men. This is what this is about. It's been about this for quite a while. You women have bought into it. They now see you're at a competitive angle. They put you at a competitive angle with the black female as a competitor. She's out here trying to hold you down, not hold you down in the sense of be down with you, but she's trying to keep you back. She wants to be the leader of the community. Look at
you're competing with her for jobs. They talked about that in the 60s and 70s with affirmative action, as well as with white women too.
Well, Daniel Patrick Moynihan said, the answer for the problems that he saw in his Moynihan report was to have more Black male employment. That was the answer. That was his answer. Most people miss that. That's never covered in the report. It's never recovered.
Yeah,
nobody ever speaks on it.
Yeah, he basically said, give Black men a job, a house, and a wife.
No, his thing was you have to employ Black men more than anyone else, employ them over Black women. And a large part of your problem with this whole benign neglect and the single mama problem will begin to dissipate. This is an answer to the problem. Guess who some of your biggest detractors and fighters were from that?
Females.
Feminists.
Oh, mighty funny. Yeah, isn't that funny? We don't talk about
You know what I find funny, Nagon?
Talk about that. Go ahead.
I find it funny that Biden used a female shaming tactic. You're not Black enough. You have to decide. I'm thinking to myself, if the Democrats have been, have been like making Black people, particularly Black heterosexual men, walk away from the Democratic Party, he's really exacerbated that by saying that.
Well, the bottom line is he's going with the old trope, kind of with what did Hillary Clinton say? The Black women are my shield.
Was that in 2016?
Yep.
That just about was.
Yeah, that was when she had Sandra Bland's mother up there and Trayvon Martin's mother up there, and
Yeah, she said they were her firewall. This is right before South Carolina.
My firewall. They were shield firewall. Yet, you know, some years earlier, these black men get them. These are your predators. These are your super predators. So this is the whole thing. You are the boogeyman of this society. You're the book. They got to have a bogeyman. You are that. You are that. You can see some skinny 12-inch ass white boy, 12-inch arm white boy sitting out there, skinny, weak as fuck, with his knee on a nigga's neck, on a Negro's neck. Come on, I got my knee on the nigga's neck now. I got my knee on the nigga's neck. I'm gonna choke him out. I'm gonna choke his ass out. Watch me look at the camera while I do it.
Or
what you got. Weak ass
impotent
weak ass motherfuckers.
Or some impotent bastard who lives in a gated community who's a homeowners association president trying to block a dude who's actually on the job, asking where he's going. And then insulting his intelligence even further. I'm sorry to cut you off.
You got these genetically weak motherfuckers walking around trying to get live. When I got chunks of when I shit out chunks of these motherfuckers every morning. All right, this is the deal. The fuck out of here. Let me just tell you something, man. Listen. I'm fucking around. It ain't time to play no games. You brothers can sit back here. Listen, stand your fucking ground. Start getting live out here. Only thing, I'm gonna say this story here real quick, and I'm gonna say this very quickly. Do not fucking cut me off. I was coming back from fucking Brazil, and I was riding back, and there was this white guy. He was from the Appalachian Mountains up there near Kentucky, but he was an oil man. And we were talking, and he was telling me, you know, I ain't seen a black man. Well, I didn't see a black man until about 12 years old. And he also said he didn't have a pair of shoes on. He said he didn't wear a proper pair of shoes until he was about 9. But he said, so he grew up poor. He said about how when he was in this area, this community that he grew up in, he said he was the poor whites, the PWT's poor white trash, and across the railroad tracks were the rich white people. And he said that, you know, the white guys would drive by every now and again. The white cops would drive by every now and again and beat the shit out of them every now and again if they come home from one like that party, something like that. But they wouldn't kill anybody. And the reason why they wouldn't kill anybody, because those old Appalachian folks, you know, who were Scots, Irish, you know, families all the way back from the days from they coming over from Dublin and all that, they would literally form up 300 or 400 of their family members, and they would go after whoever did bad to them. And they would have these feuds that would go on for generations. So the cops knew, you kill one of these, you kill up, and they call themselves a cracker, a mountain man. You kill one of them, all right? You kill one of them, they are going to come at you for generations. So that's why they didn't do it. Even though every now and again they come home, see you come home from a party, and they get out of the car and thump them down just for the fuck of it, and drive off. They were afraid to kill him because of that. Because they knew that at the end of the day, these motherfuckers were gonna fucking kill you for it. And you know what he said to me? So yeah, let me tell you something. I say something about you black boys, and I see how y'all come out here and do good, and y'all out here doing good and all. But the reason why these people do what they do to you is because y'all let it happen. Y'all take it. Y'all didn't take it. They wouldn't do it. This is from when I'm talking about a white man, I am talking about a white mountain man from the mountains. Straight up. Said you Negroes are taking too much.
Here's my question.
It's enough of this. You form a phalanx. That one brother that sat there and shot 5 of them white boys down in that driveway when he in that parking lot, and he called them in, and they started picking them off. Those guys got scared. The next, the police captains were saying, don't kill a whole lot of black people in the streets because it's going to get some other police officers killed. It's the only thing these people understand. It's the only thing these other grays understand. When you sit there and you start to crack back at them. That's where you are, man. I know this is uncomfortable for a lot of y'all. Me, I'm built for this. But for a lot of you cats, nah. Y'all ain't comfortable with this shit. You can't get comfortable with it, but you have to understand this is the game you're in. Whether you want to deal with that or not, this is the game you're in. Forming a black political party of men ready to strike, making fucking demands is what is actually becoming expected of you now. It's the only thing they're going to respect from you. It's the only thing it's the only thing they're going to respect from you. all these tough guys talking like they're tough guys and everything else like that, they're straight up pussies.
It needs to be vetted properly, though.
What's this?
It needs to be vetted properly. In fact, I would even go as far as to make it a borderline secret society. Just saying.
Well, to me, I don't think it's secret. I think once you let people know this is what's up, and this is how we're doing, and we're going to be supporting our own candidates. We're going to be raising money. We're going out. We have our own party. You start doing that, and you start shaking, and you start doing that, you'll shake the very foundations of these grounds.
What I mean borderline secret.
Last thing. You guys need to start getting your gun permits. Start going to the range. Start hitting the gym. Start getting butter laid. I'm
Martial
not
arts.
playing. I'm not playing. Just start moving.
I'm ahead of you on all three. I'm right with you on all three.
Just start moving a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I'm damn near 6 years old. And I got a 500-pound bench press. Put your hand on me. You're going above my head. I'm snapping you like Bane. I'm making sure I'm possessed that kind of power. Fuck that. You go over my head, I'm snapping you over my knee. Broke your mind, now I break your body. That's what the fuck I'm gonna do to you. I'm not playing around. It's not a fucking game. You know, you guys sit around, you're around savages, animals, beasts, and you think you're safe? The fuck is wrong with y'all? It's enough of this. Enough of this, Paulie. Enough. It's enough of this. Enough. It's enough, man. Go ahead, you guys. Go ahead.
As I was saying, I use the word border because we can't just let any and everybody in. I think there has to be certain rules and parameters for this political party, like kind of like a background check. You have to, I say, if it was me, it needs to be heterosexual black men with skill sets in a functional degree. And when I mean a functional degree, I'm talking about STEM and economics. It can't be some bullshit PhD in history or journalism where you're sticking up for, black feminists. You know what I mean?
No, I think this is black men across the board. You can get your Pookie guys who are down to play with you. You can get your Ray Rays. You can get Paul. You can get Paul and Raymond. You can get Paul. I
can get that. I can rock with that. But it depends.
You can get Muhammad and Latif. You can get everybody together. It's just that black men have to understand that we have to ultimately form a strong political party that we can make demands, not ask. Make demands. Listen, mofo, this is exactly what we're demanding. And this is what we want. And if you can give us that support, okay, and if we'll support you, and then you're going to give us X, Y, and Z. That's what we're asking for. Just like the LGBT showed you. Back in the 60s, when you had Martin, when you had people like Adam Clayton Powell who were on the inside, okay, Bayard Rustin, okay, you had guys like Thurgood Marshall and all them. You had a phalanx of brothers who were academically straight, professional with their degrees and so forth that could really impact on the legal system. And then you had a lot of charismatic people found, folks who didn't have degrees, Fannie Lou Hammond, people like that who were not sophisticated as far as having a lot of training, but yet their asses on that. But yet their asses were on that line. Okay, just like many other brothers, many other brothers who did not have a lot. Okay.
Here's another thought.
And we got shit done. All right. This is where we are now. This is where we are now, man. And we got to form up. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. I'm done. Go ahead.
Here's another thought with that. I think unlike the other groups who associated their struggles with ours, like the LGBT and the feminists, notice they associated that. Even Umar Johnson, who I don't really like, he was right about this. He said something that I agreed with when I first heard him. You need to start your own and make sure people from the outside don't associate their struggles with you, or don't give the notion that they're going to support you. And then once their voice is heard, they just push you to the side. And that's the problem. That's one of the reasons we are where we are. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but notice all of these issues, such as the jogging and the neck and the knees on the back of the neck, are popping up towards another election. Right towards the end of the first election, that's when a lot of these incidents with black men, primarily in police, occurred. And now they're doing the same thing again. So
It's been happening year round.
It happens year round. It happens year round, but notice the news headlines make it a black and a white thing. And I'm not saying that we're not open targets for sitting ducks. I feel that way, and I'm to the
They've
point
been
now.
10 years out the frame all the way along.
I was gonna say, you got to think we've had
enough
videos come out on these last two that's made it just like this is just too crazy.
Because that's the only reason is because technology. Everybody now has the ability to record, and that's why this thing. The thing happened. The thing happened in Minnesota. The police was there, everybody, but it was when it got to Facebook and it started. That's when they started to react, or when for that guy Ahmad when he got killed. It's not till the video came out that they should. So every time you say it's technology, it's the ability for now black men. We have that device in our hands now that we all can communicate and all say with one thought, we should be the Borg. Basically, this is what we want.
That's exactly right.
My thing is again,
you've got a megaphone. My ex fiance from fucking Brazil is hitting me up. What's Carlos? Quem aconteceu in Nova York? What's going on in fucking York? What's going on? What's going on in your towns up in here? What's going on in America? What's going on? What's going on with you people? We got COVID over here. What they just tearing y'all up the frame like this? This shit, you know how bad this shit looks.
But and you know what? Yeah,
and
you know,
you have a megaphone. You got a lot more power than you can fucking imagine. And most of these girls are sitting here don't understand what's in your hand. What's in your fucking hand? A lot of these guys, a lot of y'all just don't see it. Y'all don't see it. Y'all up here talking about whack shit, hoes, and dumb shit, and talking craziness, talking out of your fucking minds. All right, this is what's going on every day. Brothers spitting blood out of the fucking side of their mouth, saying, "Get the fuck up off me," and these guys are saying, "Fuck you, nigga." And this is going on all around. People see this all around the world. Yep, they see this all around the fucking world.
Say, I got comments. There's YouTube videos, even from people in Thailand, talking about the shit. It's worldwide now.
People are seeing it, and they're looking at it saying, "What the fuck is up with? What's up with y'all up in there?"
Not to mention the girl up there in y'all's area too, going in Black Torch up in New York, calling the police on the brother because her dog's off the leash.
I was just about to say that, and you got y'all. I can't get
wait. The funny thing about it, she's from Canada.
No. You want to hear what's worse? An Obama supporter, okay, a Democratic Party, a donator, okay. Okay, a liberal
from Canada.
Okay, and here she is. This black man coming to get me. What does that tell you? What does that tell y'all?
That nobody has our backs.
What is that?
Democrats, Republicans, white women.
Obama. I'm a Democrat. I'm a white man. Look at this nigga. Let me get him.
It's just like they say, man. A mad bus driver got it right. You got to save ourselves because nobody gives a fuck about us.
Man, listen. At the end of the day, we got to form the work.
That's why SBM, brother.
Once again, there's no real debate. And see, this is the thing you guys don't understand. The minute they think they got you on the run and you're afraid, it encourages them to kill you more. The bottom line, very simply, is once you turn around, square up, and say, "Oh, it's terribly on." That's what they respect. These are animals. Look at everything that you've seen throughout Europe over the last fucking 300 years. 100 years war, 30 years war. This is what these motherfuckers, this is how they roll. Okay? Battle of the Somme in the First World War. 50,000 people just out of England dead in one day. 1 million after fucking 6 months of fucking of battle. Okay, and that's one conflict. Just look at the shit that these guys been involved in. Look at the horror that we've been laying down across the planet since the Second World War. The only thing these guys respect is you stepping up to them and shoving some shit and shanking them. That's the only thing they respect. And there are many different guns you can use. And I'm not talking about just physical guns, but mental and political and economic guns that you have to begin to start to use. People have to understand this.
Problem is, a lot of brothers aren't trying to read.
You know, the Negro can't walk around and be a dumb motherfucker, walking around talking about, well, these rap songs are gonna help us get live and all that. The fuck up out of here. You better start putting some money together. You got to start putting some people together here. This is not a game. I don't know. I'm no young man. And I'm sitting there saying, oh my God, look at this. I got a grandson. Says I've got skin in the game. Some of y'all do too. What am I gonna leave my son? Leave my son to this? My grandson to this?
Well, that's my point, Nagone.
These fucking savages, and you ain't running nowhere. These motherfuckers, they get you on the run, they're gonna keep coming after you. You ain't got nowhere to run.
I got yes, you do.
All right, you have
places to go. See, that's it.
Hold a second. You have people to work with. You've got a large continent. You've got a big, giant continent behind, underneath you with many people. It's about time to start stepping out, reaching out, and making very strong connections. That's what these Negroes say. I want to stay here, whatever. They're lost. They're clueless. And
what I'm talking about.
And they're hysterically blind.
You don't
gotta
even
sit
have to,
down and
like
really think about what's really going on. What forms power? Okay, that's the ability to achieve your objective in the face of tremendous opposition. All right, and that means you have to be Voltron. You have to be fisted up. You gotta be a fist. That's people that, separate as five fingers, but yet one hand. That's how you have to be playing this game. I mean, this is elemental. This is elementary. And I'm just saying, this is not a whole lot of broad talk or whatever. It's very basic. Black men have to form a very strong political party here. You have no choice. Your woman, forget about it. She has said, I am making my move. And the only way she's going to roll with you is when you roll over that. That's it.
Actually, we won't need her to do that anymore.
You don't understand that? You finish. That's where we're at on this.
Yeah. I agree with pretty much everything, Nagone. Again, I think we formulate a group. We make sure, I can see some of the Pookies and Ray Rays, but again, it has to be people that are what I call functional.
I was going to say, Mujin Black, not to cut you off, I was just going to quickly say, in my mind, when you say functional, I think you should expand that to any black male who is productive. Because
yes,
I mean,
functional. I'm talking skill sets and functional knowledge. I'm not talking about some motherfucker that sells bean pies and all the other shit talks about the history.
No. I was even gonna say, even the dude. I mean, granted, I know who you're referencing with the PhD in history, but I was like, as long as you aren't on the BS, we can use a PhD in history. The media and the power of the pen and the press was big back in the 60s. So
we don't need a PhD in history. We can review most of that shit ourselves. What we need is people who are engineers, architects. We don't need somebody that's good at reciting and regurgitating information. That with automation here now, he's actually useless. He's actually useless unless you got somebody, unless he's at Berkeley or somewhere, unless he goes to Berkeley in California and he has enough, pull and clout there.
Now, you definitely gonna need history, whether you're talking about someone teaching the history or you're talking about someone doing research on behalf of you, because there are so many places that are unexplored in Black history.
I agree wholeheartedly. We've talked about martial arts on previous panels, and there's a brother, just like some of these white boys who study Asian systems and they'll go back and look at their European systems, look at their European books. There's a black man on YouTube who's located a lot of African history, and he teaches spear, sword, and all the other stuff. And again, he's not a PhD to the best of my knowledge, but we can research just like we got brothers who are staying up late at night teaching themselves how to code and program. We can be doing that. I mean, we got brothers that are studying their history when they're getting locked up on a weed charge. So again, individuals like that are not necessarily needed. Basically, we are automating the history ourselves. If that makes sense. And the problem is when he expands on the history, people like that want to include an entity, i.e. Black feminism, that has nothing to do with us, that is totally against us. So
see, once you group up, and once you really start working, when I say group up, you work together, not with the education, just with education, economics, politics, everything else that goes with it. People respect you. They'll roll with you. I remember I had a client some years ago. His name was Sam Olstein. He owned he was a Jewish guy. and was one of these uptown, Upper East Side guys. I used to go for my brokerage firm, go over here and talk with him and do trades with him. And one day he sat down and he started crying to me. Literally started crying. He's about 94 years old. He had over $100 million in the market. Okay, over 100 million in the market. But he was sitting there crying to me, relating a story, saying how one year, this is when he was a younger man and his business was relatively new. And he was getting out his clothing line, but when he was getting his line out, he didn't have enough money to finish. He put so much into everything he had, he didn't have enough money to really get his clothing line season. And he thought he was pretty much finished. And then one of his competitors came over and he just started crying, relating the story to me. Listen to this. Man came over to him and said, listen, Sam, I understand you can't get your line out. I know we're all competitors, but let me explain something to you. If you go down and you're finished, that's going to open this thing up so other foreigners can get into this group. And then they can get in the middle of here, crack this group open and break it and finish us all over time. Can't afford that to happen. So I'm going to have to help you get your line out. His competitor gave him $100,000 to make sure he got his line out. He was able to get his line out. He was able to make his money. He was able to pay this man back. And he stayed in business. This was a guy who loved him. This wasn't a guy who sat down and said, oh, Sam, you're the most beautiful guy in the world. But he sat down and understood what was at stake. Understood that. And he gave him the money. This is what he did. A lot of these Negroes, he will dox you, tear you out the frame, try to kill you. And
over Jordans.
Hey, Lagon, I'm gonna tell you.
Have no idea as to what this thing really means. They understood it. Those Jews understood it. Now, mind you, these were guys that damn got cooked away in the ovens and everything else like that. Okay, brought their ass into reality, showed them exactly what the deal was out here. Folks weren't fucking playing with them. And they knew what the deal was. So even his own competitor, and he was sitting there, he just helped me, dude. I can't believe you, And he was crying to this. He was crying. He was 94 years old, man. He's gone now, but that's a story I never forgot. Now that was me in a brokerage. That was me in a brokerage business, dealing with people like this. That's what they had to say. And we're sitting here talking shit.
Let me tell you a story, Lagon. I'm gonna say, look, we don't need a political party, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying it. Because no other groups have their own political party. Why I said that? Because I've seen it. Just like you said, this guy that you knew, I knew a guy like that.
They have their own political party. They have their own political parties. They have their own political parties.
In 2001,
we look at APAC and all that. They have their own groups that they sit in. They have their groups, bruh. They have their groups that put a lot of pressure on the system.
Before 2001, I used to buy out stores, or going. Suppose there's a man who had a store and he's going out of business. I go buy his stuff and I resell it at, say, if I buy it for $2, I sell it at $8 profit. But there were a few people that I used to deal with that I got into the business, and they showed me around and stuff. One Jewish guy I knew. One night I was at his place at like 10 o'clock at night. And he was doing some business and he had a problem. He called a captain from New York City Police Department. About 4 of them showed up. 4 of them. Here I tell you, people in the high ranks in the New York City Police Department. I knew one guy on 7th Avenue. He used to run the organization for the undercover Israelis in New York City. Anytime that one of those guys needed a place, they will knock on anybody's door, and that person had to let you in. Otherwise, they couldn't do business in the city or anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the world, they couldn't do business again. We got to have that mindset. We do not have that mindset. We got to tell the people. I mean, the women in our community got more power than the men.
Women don't give each other a place to stay before men.
It sounded like he was very very political. So he sounded like he had a lot of political pull.
Yes, Nagon, what I'm saying is
he had a
you're not
strong.
listening. You're not. I listen to you. I listen to you. You got the Democratic Party. You got the Republican Party. You got this little party, that little party.
Should we not be in both parties? Should we not be in both parties controlling? Should we not have ethnic politics superseding any party? Superseding any party label? Shouldn't we have that? Shouldn't our ethnic politics supersede any party label? Shouldn't it be that way? Being that others play this all day long?
Instead of waiting for me to say what I gotta say, you cut me off.
No, I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
Tell me what's in my mind, bro.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
I don't need you to tell me what's in my mind.
I didn't tell you what was in your mind. I was posing the question. I wouldn't dare to speak to what's in your mind. I wouldn't dare to speak to that. Go ahead. Maybe make your statement.
If you start a political party, you gotta finance that party yourself. As black men, don't have the kind of money that will finance a political party. I mean, an individual political party. But you can finance individuals in each one of those parties.
You saying black men don't have the money to finance it? How much money would it take to finance a political party? I would presume you would know that then.
Look, bro.
Answer the question.
If you're going to go into that kind of business, you got to do like APAC. And APAC is not an individual.
If you're saying you were black men want to start,
APAC is not an individual.
What kind of
APAC
money do you
is
need
a group of people. As a matter of fact, APAC is a group of people, and even they don't make all the decisions.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Even they don't make all the decisions when something needs to be done. You hear me tell you? You know about Carlos Slim? Carlos Slim is a Jew. Runs Mexico. You know who the Jewish guy in Brazil? Since you've been to Brazil, I assume you know who is the guy in charge of Brazil. Do you know his name? These guys don't have a political party. When I say
That guy, the guy who's the president is like the
Jewish political party. They don't have no Jewish political party.
I forgot that guy's name.
They have control of them. They don't have any control of the whole party. They have control of individuals. And when they call that individuals, he's got to come. When they call him, he's got to pick up the phone. If they got to send somebody over, he's in trouble. That's the kind of people that we have to be. And we're not doing it.
Well,
the women now are trying to do that. That's what the women are trying to do. When you see they calling out bidding, that's what they're trying to do. They're making it loud because that's the only alternative. They don't have the money to buy bidding, so they want to make it loud. They gotta put it out there. You see, look, in front of everybody, just like how Martin Luther King embarrassed the United States into the civil rights. The women are trying to do that.
Yeah, but they're trying to do it on our backs. That's the
Exactly.
problem.
They don't. They don't care about us.
Oh, and that's my point. I'm saying so. The split is made now. So Well, you're using the wrong words. You're using
made now. It's made. That was made a long time ago.
I agree. I said it from the 70s. They split.
We are black men. We are now just beginning to look at this thing and talk about it among ourselves. But that thing was made a long time ago.
I know.
When like Nagon was talking about Moynihan, it's correct. But when Moynihan came like that, the women said, "Oh shoot, we can't let black men do this. Otherwise, the feminist movement, as they thought the feminist movement would fail, but it wouldn't have, because men had to still bring them along. But when the white women, Caucasian women, their controllers are the ones who tell them to separate black women from black men.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna step out. All right.
I don't think it was their controllers, because it was no controllers telling Barbara Smith who was the one who called this the leader of that identity politics. She's the one. Black women have made a clear and conscious decision to separate themselves from us. So I said, that's fine. Let's allow. They want that, and now that we know that that's the agenda, their agenda. They made it quite clear in this Washington Post thing that that's their agenda. They only need our bodies as representations, but they don't need anything to do with us.
Bro,
And
but
that's
the problem here is that in America, for you to run for political office, there are very few people who run for political office who don't have somebody who whispered in their ear and say, you know what, you will make a good representative. Why don't you come work for us and we'll help you get the position. But you owe us. Don't forget you owe us. That's what happens in America. I mean, you guys know that.
Well, you know, what I saw with the LGBT was they sat down and told somebody like Barack, listen, you got to go for re-election. Bottom line, very simply here is this. It's going to be a tight vote. You know, what we're going to do is we're going to support you. We're going to put our XYZ number of votes behind you in these various areas that we're in. We're going to put a certain amount of money behind you. But more than anything else, we're going to be putting our people on the ground to come in and make sure we vote in a very powerful block and we can deliver XYZ number of votes.
That's how it's done.
Based on that, you sat down and rambled for a while. I didn't say nothing. All right. Now. Once you guys sit down and you know, understand that we got all these votes, what I want you to do is we want same-sex marriage. We want to be able to transfer wealth that we have from one other gay married single-sex person to the other. You know, male to male, female to female. We want to be able to do that. We want to have same normal families and stuff like that, like the heteros have. Even though we know you didn't support that in 2008, we you know we have to support in 2012. This is what we demand, and they demand a few other things, but these are our demands. We're coming at you in a very strong block. We're going to deliver XYZ number of votes. Now, when we deliver these votes, we expect you to, in fact, deliver on these demands that we're making. Are you with us on this? President said, yes, I will support you on that. Very good. You will have those votes, and we expect you to deliver on this. And bang, zoom, that's what happened. That's the power game. You know, that's how it works. Can you deliver? How many people can you deliver to the polls? Okay, those who have very strong organized political groups, which doesn't take that much money. But because you know, Barack raised billions, and he raised those on $5 and $10 donations. I mean, of course, he did have Wall Street and them coming in and throw a lot of big money at him when they started seeing how much money he was raising from how many people he had rolling underneath him, giving him small donations. They decided, oh, look at all this money he's raising like this. We're gonna come with the big money because it looks like this is where the smart money should be, because it looks like he's gonna win. So that's how that works. Black men, you're not gonna need a huge amount of money to start a party. You're not gonna need, but what you're gonna have to be able to deliver, if you can deliver a block of 2 to 3 million votes on any given matter. If you can deliver 2 to 3 million votes, can you deliver that? You can deliver that, you are going to get the attention of every politician walking this land that we call America. All right. And you're going to play a very critical swing vote in a lot of different areas and arenas. So you start to make demands. You start to make demands based on organization. Organization, even if you're not super well funded in the beginning, if you have a good organization of charismatic leaders and people who are good organizers, money comes from that. People start to see you start moving on the ground, then they start giving you money. That's how your money comes in. But you have to have a strong organization of people who are willing to get out and get their people organized. You don't need a lot of money just to start talking to people and have people listen to what you have to say and then start to organize behind that. You don't need that. Money starts to come as your movement starts to build. That's how that works. So if you haven't been in politics and you haven't been on the ground floor and see how this game works, you don't know. This is how it works. It's not that complex. It's just a question about literally organizing and putting it together. All right. And that's really where, and we could do it a lot easier than a lot of people think. You know, you could do it a lot faster and a lot quicker than a lot of people think. And then then you start to really look at what kind of money starts getting thrown at you. And then the Democratic Party starts saying these black people are stepping off and they're making moves and they're cutting away from these black women. Yet they've got a couple of million votes to go. Hold on a second, we got to change this dynamic. We got to change it. That's what they're going to answer to. They're going to answer to that. They're not going to answer to what this black woman saying. We got to be down with it because she says, "Oh, look at these dudes voting in blocks. Look at the game they're playing." Shit. Then you're gonna have these white folks coming to you. You're gonna have people on the Republican side coming to you. You have everybody coming to you, trying to play with you, trying to play games, trying to get in your game plan. Yeah, that's how that works.
That's really a pack, not a party. This is like-minded.
Well, it's because at the end of the day, that party is moving on your interest.
Right, so that's what I said.
What our interests are, and we're delivering XYZ number of votes.
Right, so that's why I say.
So a PAC, you can have a PAC that strictly raises money, all right, for certain issues. But then you're also delivering people to the polls, fam. You're also delivering a certain number of votes that people can count on. In this district AC here that we have, or this ward, how many guys can you realistically deliver? I can deliver XYZ number of votes here. That's where the organization comes in. I can deliver the XYZ number of votes there. I can do that. Okay, that's the game these guys play. How do you think the Tea Party and these guys got all organized? Okay, they got organized, and then the funding came in. And they organized that shit on racism, and they knew every district that they can come in. They knew the districts that were questionable. Then they had their political people get involved, gerrymander those districts, draw some of those people out, so they could have a favorable result. And all that, they played all that. That's what the Justice Department is just trying to straighten out now, okay? With some of the lawsuits that are going on, with gerrymandering and redistricting, that look crazy. There's a whole reapportionment game going on in the country right now.
Hey, Nagone, can I intercede something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have never been on a panel before. I just had to get on this one, man. You guys are having a lively conversation. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, so I want to ask you something. Yeah, have you guys talked about how the Black Lives Matter people? Go ahead. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Have you guys talked about how the Black Lives Matter people, they were able to basically get their own party going? That was basically just black women and feminists. So they got their party going. They got financial backing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can use that as a model. Couldn't you use that as a model? Because they got like hundreds of $millions from other corporations for just starting their stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, but that you came afterwards. But that model was based on black men's blood.
You're right. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we do the same thing?
Well,
like that. Follow the same model.
Black Lives Matter was set up by a Democratic Party, bro.
Huh?
Black Lives Matter was set up by a Democratic Party. Their backers are the people who back Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but we can get backers too. I mean, we can get backers too. I mean, you got to pick points. You got to pick certain things like black boy education right there. You can get a lot of black men like Robert Johnson to give you money, maybe underneath the table to help you do. You got a lot of things like that. You need to put out there and have a consolidated, caucus to do that kind of thing. You do.
You're talking at, see, the money's already there. You got 100 black men.
You do.
You got guys like you have guys like him and Byron and a lot of other guys.
Consolidate a voice, though. You need to consolidate a voice. Something
who are billionaires. And if you can put a good game plan together, they'll invest with that. And these guys will throw hundreds of millions.
Sure, but you have a place to basically put together. You do.
But we're talking about organizing a black political party. You already have a black
political party, right?
A black PAC. This is with Omar Johnson.
Wait, are we talking about a black PAC, a black male political party?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
We're talking about black male political party.
An American black male political party, or just a black male political party in diaspora?
Well,
it doesn't matter if you can vote here.
It does matter.
No, wait, let me finish.
It does matter.
How does it matter?
You have to be able to vote. You have to be able to vote here. So
if you can, that's right. That's what I'm saying. If you're an immigrant black male, if you're a descendant of black, you're still a black male here. You can vote. They can join the party.
As long as you're
I didn't say they could join the party, but it has to be. The message is like a little different. Our history is different from someone from Ghana or someone from Nigeria. Our history is different. It is. So as far as
the history, okay, let me explain something to you. The history may be different, but if you're living here now, no, can I finish the point? I'm just making a point.
Right.
We know it's different. Okay, we know it's different, but the point is that we're here now. They're here now. A lot of people are born here, and they may have parents come from other places, but they're born here. They go through the same experiences we go through now. The guy that Amadou Diallo, he got killed in Manhattan.
Okay.
So he got gunned down. There's plenty of issues like this. I mean, I'm just trying to. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. They deal with this. We deal with the same issues. They deal with the same issues. If you're here in America, you're dealing with those issues. And the thing is, black males in America, we have a unique thing because our women are not with us. So therefore, we are only. I see no difference from a Jamaican guy who was born, who's as long as he can vote here and he's here, or an African guy here, or a European guy who come, black European guys, or African, or Dominicans. Because I live in New York, we got plenty of them, and Puerto Ricans. They're U.S. citizens. They can.
Can I intercede one thing? I want to let you finish your thought, but can I intercede one thing? It's on my mind.
Okay.
I would agree with you on a large part. The thing about it is this right there. Key things, like key issues, affirmative action. I mean, that was a topic a little while ago right there. I mean, I hate to say this, but the immigrants had a different voice toward affirmative action than we did. They basically fought against like the ADOS getting, and when ADOS was a thing, with ADOS getting than we did. And that was the issue about that thing. You remember that?
Wait, time out. First of all, affirmative action, 87% of the gains of affirmative action went to white women.
You're right.
They didn't go to the rest of the other 10%, 10% that was is 13% that's left. It went to black women.
Went to black women, and the scraps went to black men.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that so affirmative action has nothing to do with black males. Zero.
Really?
It's zero. Okay. Okay, what was Title IX and all these other things?
They were basically instruments to get the feminist agenda on the chart.
Right. So who got more education?
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's my point. You brought in affirmative action.
Yeah,
it didn't do us any good.
You're right.
So that's a non-point. So it should be scratched off the board. So now your next point was that they didn't do anything. Do you know Malcolm X? His family, half his family wasn't from America. You're telling me that he didn't contribute to America? Or these Harvey, what was his name? The guy who died in Ghana. They came here, Marcus Garvey and all these guys. You're telling me that they didn't contribute to what?
Sure did. You're right.
So therefore, I'm trying to say your argument is moot because people have been coming back and forth from the Caribbean to the United States for hundreds of years.
I'm not trying.
They contribute. They contribute, and this is not the time. See, I like what you're doing because you're bringing up your points, and I'm telling you, I'm just countering each point that you're bringing up because I'm trying to say that we now here as black men have the same issues, the same problem. Whether you speak with an accent, or you speak French, or you speak English, patois, whatever, but we all the same. We have the same issues. The cops don't care when he's putting his foot on your neck, what language you speak.
I understand. You're right.
So therefore, we're trying to be, as a black pack or a black party, we should be thinking, okay, black males, we have these same issues, these same points, and we should work together as a block. That's what I said earlier. Everybody has these smartphones. We can create an app that says this is the Black Male Vote app, and this is the Black Male Pact, and we can say that this is what we want to do. That's what I was trying to say before. I was saying this is not the time to weaken our numbers and separate ourselves. This is the time for us to look.
Black Torch, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't trying to create division among. I know as a as in diaspora, I think we do need to be acted as one unit. You're correct. You're correct about that. I was just saying the issues that we have faced in the past are different. What someone coming in just like 2 years or maybe one generation move are a little different. I'm not saying we shouldn't separate. We should separate from that. Oh no, we need to be a unit. Period. All right. I'm just saying. I was just trying to get clarification because I was confused about what exactly the actual focus group was for this political party. Also, what the actual specific focus group was, what the actual demographic was. Now you've clarified. I am not trying to create division. I do not want that. You need to be a unit. So let me just stop right there. Okay. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, that was it. I was just trying to make sure everybody understood where I was coming from. It doesn't matter.
We don't need that now. You do not need that. You need to create a unit. You need an app or a website in general. Get your voice out there. Talk about the specific history that affects you right there, as far as in this country right there, as far as getting political. You do need it. You do need that.
That's all. So that's all. Somebody else wants to chime in. I just thought that, I don't want no division. Right now we need it as
you are correct. I'm not trying to create that. We don't need that. You're right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to
we got a unique position here in America, in that America is considered the mouthpiece for the rest of the world. Americans can tell the rest of the world what they need to do, and most of the time it will get done. And we as Black men, we can talk to other people. Because if you are a Black man, and I don't know how many of you guys, I assume most of you guys got passport. All of you guys got passport.
Yeah, I do.
And if you go anywhere in the world, you open your mouth, another Black man is going to want to talk to you. Anywhere in the world you go. And sometimes people from the opposite side will want to come in and sit down in a conversation and listen in. But you have power.
So true. So true.
The thing is that here in America, they're trying to squeeze you out. And they're using your own people to squeeze you out. And that's the problem you got to face. The problem we got to face is, how do we stand up and push back at what's happening?
You're right.
And that's all I was trying to say. It's a lot. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Black Torch. Hello?
Yeah. Black Torch. Yeah.
So we should look for. So as this political group, you're saying we should look for a Pan-African kind of like unit instead of.
No, it's not even Pan-African. We're all living here in America, right? So we all have the same experiences. We're Americans. We may be one generation, maybe us as 15 generations, but we're all in the soup together. As what does they say? Either we fight as one unit, or we'll die single-handedly. I'd rather die as a unit.
You sound like David Monroe. We're all Americans.
No, but it's true. But it's true, right? If we're gonna follow Nagon's advice, Nagon's thing about we're all here, we all got to deal and stand and fight. Well, let's stand and fight together, or we hang separately. But we got to fight together.
The most powerful groups in this country are not the biggest. You gotta understand that. These people, it's just like Sun Tzu in The Art of War. He always said, do not rely strictly on sheer numbers of military power to win. That's not always going to be victorious. The best organized, the best trained, those are the guys who win. All right, give me an army of 100,000 men whose flags are bent this way, swords are moving left, right, and center, and their troops are slovenly. Give me 10,000 men of supremely organized. When they move as a mountain. Okay, when they turn and move, it is in perfect unison. That army will rout that 100,000. No problem. So just how long will it take them to do it? Because they're gonna get routed anyway. An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, we don't know. But at the end of the day, it's those massive of unorganized folks are going down. And that's just how that's where we are with this. Politics here has shown you this. It's shown you this here in this country time and time again. Black people sit here arguing about it.
Can I ask you something?
It's not an argument.
Yeah. Nagone, can I ask you something?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Okay, like the enemies you're gonna encounter on this road are this: your own women, the United States government. You're gonna have like different political parties gonna go against you right there, and a lot of your own men are gonna gonna go against you right there. What roadmap would you think you have in basically countering that?
No, on the counter. You just have a very well organized group, and you just keep pressing forward. Simple.
Yeah, I think the people in the 60s, the group in the 60s right there would have a. I mean, what happened to people in the 60s as far as the Black Panther group and all the other groups, and I mean,
what do you know about the 60s? What do you know about it?
I mean, just what I learned in history class or I read in books right there, but the effects, I mean please school me. Let me know. School me. Correct me.
How much have you read? What do you know? Because if you sat down and you really looked at what really went on in the 60s, all right, you looked at a very organized.
I knew they were organized. You're right. They were organized. They were very organized. The problem is they were still dissipated after being broken apart from outside forces and from the end. So I don't, you know what? Let me stop talking like this because I don't want to cast shade on it because I really like this idea. I really do like this idea, right? I'm just getting ideas out, just trying to get my questions answered. That's what I'm trying to do. So please, Nagone, please talk. I just want to get that out there and just please talk to me.
Okay, I'm gonna use.
All right. I was gonna finish. Yo, fall back for a second, fam. I was gonna finish. Let's let him. Say he was gonna say. We were very well organized during the 60s. We were very well organized.
You're right. You were. You're right.
Okay. We were very organized.
Not going to argue that. You were.
Not only just with respect to parties, but we had a lot of different groups, SNCC, CORE, so we had all these groups very well working together. We had a lot of organization. All right. We didn't have such huge dollars. We had people like Harry Belafonte and, Sammy Davis Jr. and people like that who were some of the big donors. All right. You had even some white guys as well. People surprisingly, people like Charlton Heston and Paul Newman and others. You had people like that who were kicking into it. So you had a lot of people who gave money, but really more so than anything else, you organized a very strong street game. And your Voting Rights Act, ultimately, we wanted that, we demanded that, and we got it. All right. We got the right to properly vote. All right. Okay. We got the right to do that. All right. Yeah. That happened. All right. You did get some measure of civil rights. Now, some people say, civil rights integration. Some people might say civil rights and integration was a bit of a problem. But we had to ask for a lot of that because you had a separate society. You had people who could not get equal rights under the law with respect to employment and so forth. And all those laws came onto the books. They basically wiped racism off of the books of this country. That's actually what happened. Now, it didn't happen in practice, but it happened actually on the books legally. It happened. All right. We were able to get a lot. Okay. Jesse Jackson, all these guys may be foolish and crazy right now, but they were right on the money with the Voting Rights Act in the 60s. They were right there. Frontline guys. They were right on the money. All right. All these guys were dead on it. But we started to see a lot of this started to actually break down and begin to have issues. We didn't keep up the fight properly. A lot of guys came in there. Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was your most powerful black politician during that period. He was chairman of the House Ways, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. 41% of all domestic legislation came across his desk. When he went out of office, he said the whole war on poverty bill that these guys structured and put together, which was really designed to help you and the black man. But it was misused. He said ultimately they turned into a state agency where people got $30,000, $40,000 a year jobs. He said it was a jobs program for the middle class. Okay, money didn't go anywhere where it was supposed to go whatsoever. It was misused. This is when he started to talk about, the welfare program and how all that shit got misused, how you fundamentally got torn out the frame and all that. So there were a lot of things that came out against you, these white liberals who were supposedly helping you, like that white woman in in Central Park who ended up calling the cops on this black man, hyping it up. Those kind of white liberals like her, were out there, heading up a lot of shit, and that stuff got misused. So your program solely over the 70s and stuff got broken down, and we've seen what happened. But what I wanted to say, besides that breakdown of what happened, and there was a lot of dynamics that went on. One of the key things I want to say was during the 60s, you had a very strong unified movement, and it moved the very center of this country. And it was an example to a lot of people around the world. And we had a lot of international, and it brought on a lot of international support as well. So it was a very dynamic movement. It was so dynamic that these guys got so scared. All right, got so scared. They've been trying to do all they can to offset of what your gains were from those days. It was some serious shit. So, you know, when I hear people talking, a lot of young millennials and so forth who don't know dick, but sit around and shoot their mouths off and don't have a clue, they don't understand what really went on. They, you know, and that's what Roland Martin and we're talking about a little bit earlier before about how these guys have no sense of history and don't really understand what really happened. They just don't know. They haven't studied, but they got big mouth talk. But fair enough.
That's why you need ours. That's why we need our own historians.
You know, we have to put things in its proper perspective and look at things properly. Okay, but at the same time, you've got to organize. You know, we've got to organize. And black male political party or black male political party / PAC working together hard like this would shake the very foundations of this country. You can't believe the attention you get. You get a lot of attention around the world anyway. As a black man, when you leave this country and you walk around the rest of the world, you see the love you get. All right, you see what's up with that. Okay, mostly, you know, there's some places, you know, a little shaky, but most places around you get a lot of love. All right, so people know what's going on with you. They want to be down with you. You have a lot of people that are with you. You can't believe the amount of people that are with you. Not so much here in this violent, savage country that has made you the beast, the monster. Okay, you're not the monster elsewhere. So it's within our interest to work with those who don't see you as a monster, who's willing to put some pressure on the outside here to pressure this game. And that's what you had in the 60s as well, with a lot of tremendous support coming from those from Europe, Asia, Africa, and so forth. You had a lot of support there, a lot. And that's the position that we're in. A lot of us don't understand the position that we're in. We don't. We're used to being beat down, our self-esteem low, used to being torn out the frame, used to being talked shit by fucking broads telling you ain't shit, you ain't this, you ain't that. We're used to that.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of guys used to hearing this. That's bullshit. I know a lot better. I've been around. I know a lot better. Other brothers do. But this is why it's very important for us to do this. And have these conversations, regardless of what anybody thinks, are very important as well.
Beyond the
Marvin,
conversation.
there's a guy called, I don't know if you ever heard of a man called Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. You trolling Raptor now. Trolling with that one.
No. He's talking about history. We talking about history and how we got to this place where we are right now. And he was one of the reasons why. He's also responsible for the political blunder with the Supreme Court voting to make corporations individual, you know. But Newt Gingrich, him and the people who were sponsoring him looked at the political system in the US. See, you know what? If we control this, 5% of this, 10% here in each house, we can run the country. And from there on, they changed all the voting laws that Nagon was talking about just now. We got the right to vote. Not only us, but a lot of other people got the right to vote.
Yeah.
And they went off of that specifically. They haven't stopped going after the voting right specifically because of black men. All the black men you see go to jail have a record that millions of us cannot vote.
Mm-hmm.
They took away that right and they refuse to let the states give it back because they know they try to keep you from doing what you're supposed to do,
well, actually, it's
four parents fought for.
But actually, the states can overturn that. The states can do that. It's not the federal government. It's the states.
But if they control the state houses.
I know, but that's where you should. That's where the fight is. The fight is locally.
You see that Corona now. They're fighting.
Yeah.
See that right now.
Who said that? What? I didn't understand. Sorry.
Oh, carry on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I didn't, Marvin. I didn't hear what you said. That's why I said.
I was saying about about the coronavirus. They're having conflict with coronavirus about what to do with it throughout. I was just agreeing with what the other guy said. That's all.
Okay. No, what I was saying. What was I saying? It's if you look at the actual law how it's written, it's by a state by state thing where they take away your voting rights. So if you control the state house of your particular state, you can overturn that. And you can vote again.
You're correct.
So it's not a Newt Gingrich. It's basically a state thing. So all politics is local. So that's what you should do. We should aim and control a state house, and you can make the changes. You can do it, but state by state. New York is even doing this without that impromptu thing. But it hasn't been done. Now that I hate to say it, but the Democrats took over the state, they may be able to overturn that. So it's I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, Raptor, when Newt Gingrich came in with corporations or people too. I don't get that correlation. I really don't.
Well, the
I know he
corporations,
changed Atlanta. That's about it. That's all I know.
corporations weren't allowed to fund political parties the way they're funded today. You understand what I'm saying now?
I understand that, but the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. It was Scalia and Thomas who really was the swing votes to make was Citizens United versus.
I
That
know
was
all of that. I know all of that. But they went to get there. What you said they put Scalia. You remember the fight over Scalia and the fight over the black guy?
Clarence Thomas.
I don't
Clarence
even call
Thomas.
his name. I call him the black guy.
Clarence Thomas. We're telling you his name.
I know you just called his name.
Yeah. Okay.
But they put him inside there. They put them in there for a specific reason.
Right. It was the
They
same.
had to get the Supreme Court. They had to change the court to get all these things pushed through. And not only they changed the court, they changed the state courts too.
Right. It was the same.
They had to get the Supreme Court. They had to change the court.
Hold on. Somebody's echoing. Could somebody mute themselves? Raptor, go ahead.
I made my statement, but they had to. This was a methodical thing. They didn't just go after one specific area. They went after every area, and they went after it step by step. They made just one step after the other.
Well, they've always had a target on the courts because of civil rights, because you had a lot of wins that came out of the courts that fell on the side of civil rights. So that's always been a target, is courts at every level. That's the big deal with Trump right now, appointing all these young guys to the courts who are like 30 and 40 years old so they can be there for another 30, 40 years.
Yeah, that was one of the problems with Obama. They didn't allow him, or he didn't force himself to get into his last pick into the court. And now we're in this situation. But we can't rewrite history. I'm just saying, I'm looking for a path forward, and the path forward is I think is a combination of, now that we know where we actually stand in America with technology, with social media, we can interconnect with all the black guys in America and actually have us on one page, and the simps will fall by the wayside, and the LGBT, they'll fall by the wayside, and the black women fall by the wayside. They have no voice in this party.
Let me ask you this: when you say LGBT, are you saying black LGBT as well too? They fall by the wayside, or
Yeah, because they have their own agenda. They're not. This is a black male heterosexual agenda.
Okay, no, I just want a clarification, because historically you've had people like Baldwin, Bayard Rustin, so.
Yeah, but okay.
That was a different era, bro. That was a different era.
I was just asking for clarification.
What gender, what gender you chose to call yourself, you fought for your own people. You fought as a family. Today, the LGBT, he's LGBT because unless you're supporting LGBT, is like you hate LGBT.
LGBT,
people.
yeah, we got you. The alphabet.
You hate alphabet people, so therefore, you're on the other side. You're on a different side to me.
And exactly.
Whereas
so
before it was, we are together, whether or not you like my political bent or whatever the case might be. we fighting for this because it's going to benefit all our people.
Right. And that's why the voting bloc now that I'm suggesting is El Nagon and the other people suggesting is a heterosexual black male vote. We vote as one. We put at the agenda of what we want, and we'll target specific states where we can move bodies and get them to do what we need them to do. And we have the means to contact them. We by their social media, and we can contact people and let them know exactly what they need to do.
And it's a means for black men on the whole. We're looking at just like, I mean, if you happen to be gay, but yet your interests fall in line with what our interests are, it sits down. As long as black men are voting more or less as a very strong political group, as a bloc. There was a question in the chat that was asked, well, what is the agenda? And that would be something that when you start to really formulate a party, because there are a lot of people who are talking about agendas, but you would have to formulate what an agenda, what you really want. What are you demanding? And everyone would have to agree pretty much on a certain number of demands and then push those forward. Getting all into that tonight might be a little bit extreme, but let's just say whatever demands that you would come up with, these would be the demands that you would demand to any political candidate that you'd be talking with, any political candidate that you'd be putting up, any political candidate that you're going to support. And when they get in there, they're to make good on those demands.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the thing. We made demands before in the past. And we're very successful at getting them. All right.
Education.
We haven't made any real demands in a long time. The party game has taken over the Democratic Party. Blacks have been separated from the Democrat, from the Republican, and all this different, kind of crap. We haven't been as sophisticated as we need to be with respect to splitting your vote, being involved in both parties, and then having your own party to play a very funky political game, but of which we are very capable of doing, and we've done in the past. This is the kind of game we need to be, how we need to be playing today. This is what we need to be doing. Even if you have a black political party, black people should still be heavily involved in Republican and Democratic Party.
Oh no,
almost at equal numbers to put political pressure on them. All right.
I'm not suggesting we join either party. I suggest that whoever's going to vote our interests, that's who we vote for.
Well, that's my view. And see, my thing is, you push your interests in the Republican Party, push those same interests in the Democratic Party, then you have your own party pushing your interests. So therefore, you've got a pretty funky block. We're working all the way around. Jews do this. Italians play that game. Asians are very smart. Asians are very smart at playing this game. Okay, yep. Asians are very smart. So Latinos are becoming more sophisticated to this. I mean, there are groups out here that do it. You have these white groups. You have tremendous white interest groups. You have the supposed to be conservatives and the liberals, and yet their game is the money party, if you will. They're about keeping the wealth in their hands, and they play very funky games to keep that game going that way. And the liberals can sit down and talk as much as they want, but they did nothing to keep the labor movement going in this country. Nothing. They sided with the 1%ers. They did nothing to stop that. Zero.
That's because a lot of them are the business owners. They're the people. Google and
they weren't. They talked a nice game, but at the end of the day, look how they played. Look at the two games that these guys were playing. Right. So, just like this woman today who's calling the cops on a black man. Oh, he's coming to get me. Oh. She's a
look at the corporation that she worked for. When I saw the name of the corporation that she worked for, I said,
she works for Templeton, and she was a vice president.
Working for Templeton.
She was a vice president there in a financial company. Okay, 6-figure woman easily, and was making nice money. All right. Donating to the Democratic Party, liberal causes, but this black man is coming. So she She was like,
Let's admit she was stupid. Okay, she was just stupid.
No, she didn't like.
No. She wasn't stupid. She was the classic entitled white woman.
Exactly.
I get
she did not like. She did not like that black man checking her.
You get recorded, it's gonna go on news. Are you not stupid for just going along with it?
Who ultimately ain't down with you like that? Okay, even though they say I'm supporting your game, at the end of the day, in Templeton, we fired him because there's racism. How many black people do you have in Templeton working for you? Very small number. So so at the end of the day, these people really are not about you coming off. At the end of the day, they're about keeping your ass fucking right where you are right there and separating you, using black women to keep that game going. You're the bogeyman. You saw that, and this guy was a Harvard-educated gay dude. This black man, oh Lord.
No, and watching birds in the park. That's the thing. That's the thing that gets me. He had binoculars in the park.
So like I'm saying, to all of the shine bones out here, all the shine bone moolies running around thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna get behind them and they're gonna save me. You can see they ain't down with you like that either. They'll use you. They'll use you to keep their game going, but that's about where that is. So I'm just saying, we got to be very realistic. It's 2020 right now. This is 2020.
I was gonna say you saw some of that with Obama running in 2008. Once Obama got the nomination, saw the fallout. Hillary Clinton was like, "Hey, who's this black guy taking my spot?"
Yeah, you saw that. Bill Clinton, his colors came out. Well, I told you, you didn't want these drug dealers. And then when you started looking at who the real crack users were, these are white folks. They demonized you, called you animals, and this guy sat down and jailed you. Now they're sitting back there complaining, "Oh, we shouldn't have done that." But these guys they weren't down with you like that. You were supposed to be there. You were supposed to be there. They're niggers at their knees, niggers at their toes, that they're going to help bring along a few of y'all. That's about it. They're not about you getting any real power. You start trying to go for some real power on your own. If you really moving that way, they're going to be against you. So that's why you can't really do business with these people like the way you think you can. Only way you can do it with the man is you got to hold the metaphorical gun to them. All right, the metaphorical gun, and you got to know when to pull the fucking trigger. And that's what this politics is really all about. And that's what many of us have missed. Oh, don't vote. You don't need to vote. You don't need to do this. Big dumb black bastards walking around here talking this shit. Big.
You can
because okay.
Your way through this. You can't force your way through this. You can't. You cannot strong.
Listen, you don't understand power. Once again, yes, you can. And you don't strong arm your way through machine guns, and you don't strong arm your way through throwing grenades. What you do is you use the metaphorical gun. You use your numbers. You use your political influence. You use outside forces to come in from other areas to put pressure on the system. You operate very sophisticatedly, like we did in the 60s, to get a lot of stuff done in a time where you were dealing with extraordinary savagery that we have today, but still, where people could literally take you in the back of the woods and hang you from a tree. They were doing shit like that and not even thinking about it. So you think times were fucking tough? Times are tough now, but you think they weren't tough back then? You could disappear and not be seen. And you had your police departments and all that were involved in that. They had to cut back on a lot of that. Put a lot of pressure on that. Okay, and outside pressures got involved with that as well. You have to understand what you guys were dealing with. I know you young people don't know, but you have to sit back and really start to look at a little history and understand what was really going on in the past, as opposed to sitting around, listen to a few things, listen to a few Negroes talk craziness, and then think you understand the game. You don't. And that's not to talk down on folks. I'm not trying to do that. I'm saying we have to really get a good understanding of what was going on in the past. Okay, to understand where you were. Things were highly vicious. All right, things were highly vicious, much more vicious than today, much more vicious, and today is vicious as you can see. But it was even more savage when they could openly hang your ass.
But we have one advantage,
and have a campfire and have a campfire around them.
Yeah, but we have one advantage that we now know what's going on. I mean, and we can communicate to one another almost instantaneously. So that's the advantage we have.
Yeah, social media game is huge. It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. When my fiance from South America, ex-fiance can call me up, say, Carlos, what the fuck is going on? Like what is this?
Yeah.
5,000 miles away. You know, below the equator. Hitting the old boy up. What's up? That's where we're at. So
Hey,
you've got a huge megaphone. You've got a lot of power. You got more power than you truly understand that you have. And that's what I have to really say to you. We have the ability to rock this motherfucker like you can't believe. I know a lot of Negroes don't believe.
When they're going there, they are beginning to fight the fight down there nowadays. Now too. I mean,
Yeah, well, you know, they have
are
African
being killed. A lot of
and
them are being killed because they're fighting that fight.
Oh yeah, well that councilwoman got killed in Rio.
she got killed.
Yeah, she got killed.
Because now you have these Nazi CIA guys who have taken over the country, you know, through a bloodless coup d'etat, and now they're seeing that they're getting a lot of uprisings from that. Brazil's gonna have some problems, and people are not, and Lula's still alive. He's gonna come out there. He's gonna be getting the lefties out there. There's gonna be some issues. All right.
Well, you hear that.
We're running our new version of the of the Monroe Doctrine, but I don't know if that's going to work in Brazil.
No, because you hear what they did, right? 19 of Bolsonaro's relatives are under criminal investigation. His sons are under criminal investigation. So and he tried to remove the justice minister. So it's crazy in Brazil. I get calls every day.
He's former CIA. He was on the CIA payroll. This is a CIA man. Nobody talks about that.
Well, come on.
So that's
they're
what
not
you got
going to
going
talk
on.
about that. You know they're not going. Well, look what they did in Panama. Come on, they're never going to tell you what really went down. It's you know, in Nicaragua, it's the same thing.
There's a lot of that. Brazil's going to have some real issues. Brazil's going to have some real issues. Now, of course, I will be retiring down there and living down there. I'll be going back and forth from there, probably Angola, Ghana, and trying to, you know, playing it like that. But that's in my future. But anyway, that's where we're at here. But I'm saying you have a huge megaphone, and you have a lot of people who are actually down with you who are down with you all over the world. This shit going out, like this brother with his knee on his neck, spitting blood, screaming for mama, that makes these people look like the animals that they are. And folks are saying, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this going on up in your, what are you motherfuckers about up in here? What are y'all about? And you got a lot more support than you could ever imagine. Believe me. And you could easily translate that into hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, even the president,
to help you move.
Even the president of the Philippines he said something about it. He said, you can't tell me anything. You killing black people in the streets. Duarte told him.
These guys look horrifying. These people look horrible. They look horrible. People are afraid. People are actually afraid to come here. People are afraid.
Well, remember what happened to the that Japanese student that knocked on the wrong door and the guy shot him in the face?
Louisiana tore his ass out the frame.
Yeah, and the Indian guy who was walking outside, his elderly Indian guy who was walking outside, he was a dark-skinned one. He had a cap on, so they couldn't tell what he was, and they beat him till he was crippled. You know, this is Huntsville, Alabama.
You have more support than you know, and I just want you guys to understand that, you know, and this is true. This is not made up or you talk. No, a lot of guys don't travel. A lot of guys don't know anything. Those who want to know what time it is, and this is just what's going on. So as far as ourselves really organizing politically, because black women they're organized politically. You know, black women, we've been doing this since 1965. We've been holding this thing up. They're sitting here making those kind of statements today. Madness, badness.
Well, because they think because they think they can get away with it because they got the megaphone. You know,
they are getting away with it.
No, they're not. Because we're talking about it now.
You are right. You are right. But Go ahead.
No, you got to understand what's going on.
They got the bigger. You're right. They do have the bigger megaphone.
No, but okay. Let's explain this. Let me, Marvin. I don't know how much. Okay, black women have essence. They got printed media. They got TV. They got all this. Black men, we don't have anything except the internet and this new and these smartphones. But it's been working to counter. There's we have websites now like Free Speech Avenger and stuff like that, but it's been working to basically change that narrative, and they can speak this thing from the walls. What was it, the wall WP, what was that the article from, Mike, what was that article from? Is he around?
Yeah, which article are you referring to?
The article where black women said that they are the backbone of the party. He couldn't get there, but Washington Post.
We're talking about. I know the article
Yeah.
you're talking about.
So that I mean, I would I'm not as heated as Nagone, because I realize that they are not our friends. We are in this by ourselves. So, well, I was at first when I wait. Let me finish.
Are you suggesting
No.
that I don't know that these are not my friends?
No. Of course not, Nagone. I'm just saying I'm not as passionate about it as you are. That's all. Because I'm kind of like, no, Nagone. I'm not throwing no shade.
You gotta
Please.
get hyped. We gotta get hyped.
No,
Go ahead,
we
Sammy.
don't. I'm different. We all got different temperaments. I'm trying to think logical. I said, okay, we know that this is what the situation is, so we must plan accordingly to. And I keep saying, planning and strategic is how we defeat this problem. And I think of it as men. We all think of things as, when it's better if we think of things as we have a problem and come up with solutions. I think the talk tonight, when we came up with we threw out some solutions, were good ones, And go ahead.
That's all we're talking about. That's all we're talking about. Me, I'm very strategic. And I've read, and I think like the strategists that I've learned from. Not only just people here, but the classical ones. Read them deeply and thoroughly understand this game. That's why when I sit here and I listen to people talking crazy, I don't even engage in most of these conversations anymore, because I know these guys talking at the side of their ass. They got no bottom line here. All right. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, people can say whatever they want, but you're not going to move properly unless you're properly organized and moving in large and moving as a block. So that's the game.
Well, the technology.
This is not hard to understand, but most people don't want to deal with this because the work for this is a little bit difficult. And Negroes, we're so lost, and our esteem is very bad. And at the end of the day, I see the level of black maleness and injury that we have amongst ourselves. It's at stunning levels. It's stunning. We've bought into much of the bogeyman game that they've sold us, and we've bought into it. We've bought into the bogeyman. We believe we're the bogeyman. We believe it. That's why half of these guys are against each other, not against each other for anything else. But the fact that he's the bogeyman, I'm the bogeyman, you're the bogeyman, everybody's the bogeyman. We're the bogeyman. Can't get together.
One of the things that we have to do
over dumb shit.
One of the things that we got to do is.
I just wanted to finish, family. All right, you got it, man. In 2 seconds, I just want to say that's when we sit here and we talk about we can't organize parties, we can't do this, we need this, we need that. No, that's not true. The name of the game is you sit down and you just organize in your neighborhood, in your house. Boom. That's where your movement starts. That's how this thing really rolls. Stuff like that. It doesn't start where you gotta raise $20 million and now you get the fuck out of here. When did that ever happen? All right. And most people who've ever moved about, that's not how that works. This thing works, man, through people sitting down, having passionate conversations, looking at what the real truths are, and sitting down in groups and organizing that way. And that's how you get it moving.
You're changing the culture by doing that. You're changing the culture by doing that. Yeah.
That's really all we're really talking about. That's how this thing works. That's how it works. People are buying into a whole lot of other craziness. Buying into that. Look at what got some of the best movements you had in this country since slavery. All that stuff was done, man, house by house, in your churches. Well, your churches are screwed, but that was a big political organizer for you during that time. Okay, we've got a stronger organ through your cell phones and all that.
That's what I'm saying.
People can organize on groups. You can organize this way, which is almost like a hive mind kind of game. You can play the game this way. When you look at these crazy alt-right guys who've got strong movements going on undercover, all right, they're organizing on the net like crazy. They're on the dark web, doing their thing, getting live, all right, coming against you, all right. You got to understand. You got to understand what they're doing. This is what you have to do. I know we hate each other. That's a big part of our problem. I know we do. You'll have guys that'll come over here and will fight each other over pussy. That's where these Negroes are at. Gotta start thinking beyond a little bit of that. That's where the work is. I'm sorry. I'm just calling this shit out the way it needs to be called.
No, Nagone, I just want to say I love you, Nagone.
Go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
I don't hate you. I'm just trying to tell you.
I got love for all you brothers, all you cats, because I think you guys here understand. We may get passionate, we may not agree on a point. I may not agree with D.E. Raptor on something. At the end of the day, I know where this brother's coming from. At the end of the day, I know where his head is at. All right, I know where Mike's head is at. Mike and I have talked behind the scenes, and we've been like, we disagree, but boy, we understand where each other's coming from.
But I think,
I mean, that's just where we're at. I don't care about disagreeing with somebody on something.
I think disagreements are good. I mean, you air out all the issues.
It's keeping the ideas forward.
Yep.
Okay? That's the idea forward. But we can get on here and I hear black women sit down and say, this guy says he's surprised every black woman hates this kind of man because, you got to check his drawers. He looks like he's gay. You have to black women sit down with it. This is what you're dealing with. I was on a program over there with The Real News. I love the Real News Network, but here they all sitting here talking about black women this, black women that, black women that, black women that. Black men weren't even on the table. Not on the table. You're not on the table, man.
Yeah, you're right.
They're not trying to put you on the table. I mean,
I had a question for Raptor when you finish.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Raptor, you were trying to say.
One of the things that I think we can do to frustrate what's happening in our community is like, we got brothers who are coming out of the prison population. And this technology that we have can benefit them. You can go on YouTube and learn how to be a welder, how to be a plumber, how to be a carpenter. All the information that they're withdrawn from the prison, because they used to be able to learn those kind of things, skills in prison. And they had schools dedicated to doing that black people used to go to. Now, with the technology, changing technology, we can do that. The brothers who can't go to college, who don't have the money, the capital to invest in the college education, there's skill sets now that are being taught free. And this information should be passed around. I know we do it here on the TVBT, but this information should be passed around to all the young brothers. When you get out of prison, whoever is your chaperone, should have a paper prepared, hand it to you, and say, hey, look, there's these classes available, so. You can take them.
Raptor, I don't know if you know, but Google has already moved forward with that. They already removed the criminal background disqualification, and you don't need a degree anymore for that. So these guys they're starting to move forward with that, even though faster than the politicians have done.
I don't know doing it for the meth heads.
I didn't hear that.
They're only doing that for the meth heads and drug use on their side. Don't be fooled.
This is Santa Claus. You're coming in really low. I can hardly hear you.
All right, is this better?
Yeah, now that's better.
Okay, cool. They're only doing it for the meth heads and the druggies on their side. Don't be that fooled.
No, I'm not fooled, but the thing about it, once you remove that obstacle, they can't just put it back for somebody else. Once it's removed for that meth head, it's also going to remove for the other people also. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about the system. That they can't just pick and choose anymore. Once they remove that criminal act on your background, they have to remove it for everyone.
Yeah, I want to give Xanatos Clutch the final word.
Oh, okay.
Xanatos, what's up, baby?
Hey, what's good, nigga? And what's good, panel? Yeah, I had to come on here when I heard the sound, or at least how should I say this? Not even evidence, but when I heard that the world is with us, right? Sometimes I wonder, because looking back, and probably like 80 years ago, when another group of individuals were deemed as boogeyman in the country, the entire world seemed to have stood in their defense. Hell, they made a damn allied forces in order to defend, or at least that was part of the reason, to help certain individuals. And they were allowed certain individuals, those same certain individuals of a particular religious minority, to make shop in other countries, including the United States, which treated them, quite frankly, fairly fair. Yeah, it was like a generation of mild discrimination, but it was more on the lines of an immigrant kind versus an institutional kind. My question is this: if the world, and I don't doubt it, I've seen the attitudes of people from outside the United States, and hell, you have people and the incidents from New York, of that former Canadian who moved to America. That just shows you that, like, the racist whites tend to find their way to the United States versus those who may not be anti-black. They're cool with just sitting in their country, which, I mean, obviously goes to show you that anyone who moves here, you got to give them some sort of suspicious eye on why you're here. Of all first world nations, particularly
because this was a successful Nazi nation. The Nazis killed. This was a successful Nazi country. It was successful. The only one. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, when are we going to see that effort poured out on our behalf? When are we going to see allied forces poured out on our behalf? When are we going to see I'm not trying to say any trigger words to really get you all to have too much attention, unnecessary attention. But
Santos, call it out, man. Just call it out, fam. Call it out, bro.
All right. When are we going to see a Nuremberg?
No, don't call it out, Zach. We don't need a strike. No.
No. He ain't gonna get no strike. You guys too smart for that. But go ahead. Go ahead. Let's call it out.
Well, look, when is the effort that was seen for that religious minority in Germany in the mid 20th century? When are you going to see that effort undone on our behalf on the world stage? When is the United States going to see its Nuremberg moment? When are we going to see countries or states in this country, states in America that have been horrific towards us since its inception, basically be annulled as states? Be it like how, say, Bosnia was. That was just, they just threw that off the planet, or some former USSR states that we can't even recall the nation states anymore. Especially those states far east, more east you go. When are we going to see some of these other states that were okay towards blacks just be annexed to Canada, say like Oregon and Washington or something like that? When is the Nuremberg of the United States going to come?
It's when we have an outside powerful force that the nation has to reckon with. See, you understand? That's how it.
Sorry.
Who's
I did. I said when the U.S. isn't on top, that's when you'll get that. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to push that in there. Go ahead.
Okay.
I shut up.
Okay. But you see what I'm saying, right? Because we have, just as you, Xanatos, as you were saying, we got no sponsor or no protector from outside, from inside, and no one from outside. It's not until, and that goes back. It's funny how it goes back to what I was saying. It's not until you have that overwhelming outside, I hate this word, but Pan-African force that's pushing against the narrative and all those other things that's going on, that we're going to have that. And
and you're going to have to work very strong and very powerfully internally as well. It's you have an ongoing Nuremberg trial here in the United States. It's ongoing. All right. You had a civil war here in this country that we fought to free ourselves from slavery here. All right. We're well over 200,000 of us were involved in that in those 10,000 battles that encompassed what was called the Civil War. All right. So we certainly fought and had a unique experience here. That's different from the Jews per se. That's a little bit different, but similar but different. But we did fight our way out of slavery. Nobody gave it to you. You fought your way out of it. All right. And then we've been ultimately still fighting that Civil War ever since. That battle has not really ended. And I think that's the key that I'm really talking about here. That battle has not really ended. Have you had other countries, work on your behalf and help to work with Black people to get civil rights and so forth? Yes, you did. Okay. But as far as your own Nuremberg trials that you're looking for specifically, like they had Adolf Eichmann and so forth, and these guys who were brought in front of a tribunal, they were brought in front of a tribunal. But let's be very frank about it. If we want to talk about that, how many Nazis then became working for the United States government, never came in front of the Nuremberg trial, never were put on the show trial there, and sat back and worked for your U.S. corporations
and worked for NASA
and made this country wealthy, and many who worked for the CIA and so forth, to work in the Cold War and all that kind of mess. Okay, and let's not even talk about the Nazi collaborators like Chase Manhattan and IT,
IBM,
IBM and and just so many others. I mean, so there was an immense amount of fuckery behind that. All right, but yet they grabbed a couple of guys, tore a few out the frame, and made a nice show trial. Well, Elie Wiesel and them sat down and even talked about it. Said this thing didn't go far enough. They talked. Oldmeyer and them said the same thing. When they formed their state, and that's why they kept a hunt on well after, the Nuremberg trials to hunt down Nazi, live Nazis. That they're still hunting to this very day. You know how many people got away with it, but how much our government covered up. So I understand. I'm totally with Xanatos about love around the world. I've traveled around a lot, so I see a lot of love that you do get. What I'm saying is you're not going to get a huge amount of pushback if people start to, to get people to work with you. I don't think we're going to get a lot of pushback, and we haven't gotten a lot of it. I mean, people like Frederick Douglass got his freedom, by raising money in Ireland, and so forth to free himself from slavery. So So I think our Nuremberg trials and what we have are an ongoing battle every day. And I think that's what we're dealing with. Anyway, go ahead. I'm done.
No, you're good. I was going to ask
What's
this.
going on today that you're throwing your hits around? What?
I think Raptor's talking to somebody else. Could somebody mute him?
Yeah. Mute Raptor. Go ahead, Xanatos.
Yeah. So here's the thing. As far as the next superpower, do you think that's the reason why America is basically giving its power to China because China has the same just supremacist mentality as the United States? Now, I have a real suspicion that that's the reason why China's getting all this clout. Granted, it's being diluted with all this beer food crap, but still, I'm wondering why America is yielding all its power to this nation instead of just some other nations that might be more Black friendly or just Black neutral.
What other choice do they have?
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, think about it. How many players are there? There's only Russia, United States,
the G20.
Yeah, and the G20, and the only one that's now coming up. Well, there's two, because there's China is in the Asia, but India has its problems. It has a lot of problems. It has a large poor population, and it has all these other issues. That's how it can't get itself together. And then corruption. Um, but if you look at it, the three players are the three players: China, United States, and Russia. Now, I could see Russia and the United States getting together because no matter how these guys are talking, look at the Republicans, how they seem to jump in bed with the Russians, and they don't care that the Russians may have helped uh, Trump get into office. So it seems like the West is looking to position itself against China, not the other way around.
All right. Well, fair enough. And on a more political scale, so this isn't just. So they weren't just doing this as a way to ensure that Black Americans remain at the bottom. Because quite frankly, they could have just. Why can't they just let Black Americans go if they're so we're so hated in this country? Are they that mad of Black male autonomy? Because I speak about this a lot, in which Black male autonomy is a priority of mine personally, specifically for thanking Black men to choose wherever they like to go, to free themselves, and to, the SYSBM, all that happy horse crap. But in reality, a lot of that, for me, honestly, I'd much rather see men like us, thinking men like us, just to live wherever we want and just to establish ourselves there, instead of dealing with a nation or with a group of individuals who basically make it as if, how should I say this? The only reason, or the only thing that wakes them up and drives them to not kill themselves is that they're above Blacks and that they can use Blacks as a scapegoat. I think America has it in its sick, psychotic nature to rather see us suffer than just let us go to other countries and have just some damn peace.
Well, there's a lot of economics, I think, that are applied to that as well. They make a lot of Black money in the Black community. They make a lot of money off of you. So, they certainly have, have a lot of benefits there. So, you have a vested crew who say, listen, there's a lot of money made off of Black people, literally through your poverty pimp programs, straight through, your regular commercial sales and so forth. Black people spend a lot of money here. Black people do make money and spend a lot of money in this economy. So, that was a big reason why they also wanted to kind of get rid of slavery in the North, was because of that potential, the multiplier effect and so forth. So there's a big economic, game involved in it as well. Now, is there a tremendous sickness and a psychotic nature that white people have with Black people? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. But I know a lot of us want to get out of here. But we've also vested a lot here. So we should get what we're also owed, as far as I'm concerned as well. So we can argue this point either way, but I hear where you're coming from, Xanatos. I definitely do. I believe in Black male agency, just like you do and everyone else. But I do take the position that we should also stand our ground here and get what we should be getting, because Lord knows we paid every price for it.
Yeah, Xanatos. Are you familiar with an author named J.A. Rogers? He wrote a book, From Supermen to Men, and described why they're so scared of us, why they want to keep us on the bottom. Nagone just talked about it before. One, we have superior genetics than them. So that's one. And they're scared of us, they're scared of Black men who are really intelligent. And you can tell they have got their agents looking out for Black people who are really intelligent and to try to dissuade them and things like that. It's more than that. We can be more than what we think we can be, and they know it. And our detractors know it. And that's why they're so scared of us.
There's ancient fears as well. I was reading, with the counter revolution of 1776, when we, with Gerald Horne, and he was talking about, us, during slavery, and how there were many slave uprisings, many, and so when you hear people unified against slavery, these are lies. You had many slave revolts, many, and they went on a regular and consistent basis. And much of the fear that he feels that that whites have even today is an ancient fear, because they knew even on that slave plantation, how many slave plantations were attacked and slave masters killed by their slaves, and how these black men rose up along with black women too. You had some who were involved in that, so I'm not going to cut them out of it, but certainly you did have black men who, and people like Nat Turner and so forth, who was supposed to be a black minister, and a black, a church leader in his, slave area, to preach the word of God and make these people very very docile slaves, and he utilized that as a way to actually undermine his plantation and take out the owner and move forward and have a fairly successful movement for a while, which was a big role. It was put down in the end, but yet it terrified people. So they believe that the terror and the fear that they have was because of your fighting back against that slave system, that they can come at through the night and slit your throat while you're sleeping, or kill you in the fields, or kill you in a lot of different ways that that made them very uncomfortable. That's what a tremendous amount of fear came from that through the Haitian Revolution, and and when that ended, and the French got torn out of the frame, some of these Haitians came here to New Orleans and so forth, but black people were terrified. I mean, white people were terrified about even having Haitians on this land. So I thought that this was going to engage more slave revolts, which it did. So there's a lot of fear that came from that, and they think that that's an ancient fear of you tearing his ass out the frame on the frame on the slave plantations, and black men were thirsting for vengeance on them. That's what they're afraid of. I believe that that's still what they're afraid of to this very day. So their job is to hold you. That's when President Thomas Jefferson said, we have the wolf by the ear. We have to be very careful what we're doing here. The wolf by the ear. That's what he considers you. The wolf by the ear. This is where white man is coming from.
And to further point out about how scared they were, remember, the Haitians funded Simon Bolivar's revolution of South America. There's a statue of the president of Haiti and Colombia celebrating that Haitians are the ones that supplied Simon Bolivar with guns and weapons and soldiers to free up all South America. See, that's the thing.
A very little known, that's a good fact, but a very little known fact here is Nat Turner had Haitian rebels in his slave revolt forces. People are not aware of the role that they even played with some of the slave revolts we had here. They were exporting. They were exporters
revolution
of revolution. That's why they were so afraid. And let me tell you something. The whites were so afraid of those slaves there that had turned over. They didn't come in. You didn't see Germany and you didn't see all these countries come in there and invade the place to put it down. They were afraid to come in there. Why? These were exceedingly well-trained fighters, and they understood what that meant. So the Haitian Revolution was the first true, death knell of slavery in the West. That it was. When that revolution happened, slavery was coming to an end here in the West. That was the deal, and these guys were involved in a lot of activity here on the mainland here in the United States as well as Canada. You do not hear about that for a reason.
So,
but Gerald Horne let you know what time it is. Go read him. Go ahead anyway.
No, just one other thing. So with that being said, every other Caucasian nation, they may have had their role in Black oppression, but they eventually let off the gas. Versus the United States, they doubled, tripled, quadrupled, quintupled down with Jim Crow, with the what happened in the South with what's it called? Anyway, Reconstruction, and then the Tuskegee experiments. The list goes on. Hell, now the welfare state, the rap industrial complex that's making us look like savages, so that China now hates us. Apparently, China hates all Black people now. There you go with that.
Well, no, that's a different thing.
And so why the fuck do they hate us?
No, it hasn't. No. Time out. No.
Why are they running, letting them run amok in America, while as well as the Koreans and the Mexicans who hate us, versus you don't see no damn Japanese like that in America like this. Oh, great, they don't hate Black people like that. Same thing.
No. Okay, what's going on. I'm trying to explain what's going on in China. China now has. Well, they have now said the foreigners are bringing in the coronavirus. So first they said the Americans, then they said the English, then they said the Italians, then the Russians, and then they turned to the Africans and say that. So then what they did in Guangzhou is actually started to kick Africans out of their apartments, out of hotels, don't let them in shopping malls and all that. That's China's xenophobic things going on. I can turn around and give you a different example of we don't have that issue in Japan. When I was living in Japan, I had no issues. So I don't know what to tell you. It's like this. It's you have the Chinese are really bad examples because then the Chinese have been here since 18 something, because they had the exclusion of the Chinese Act, and then they let them in. And from then, Chinese have always tried to say that they are white. They tried in the South, and they're making civil rights cases, and it failed. And they always played that game that they were consider themselves honorary whites. You go to South Africa, that was what the term was, honorary white, for the Japanese and any other non-white person, but they gave them that title, honorary white. So I'm just telling you, you gotta, it's not that, these people hate us, it's just that some people have agendas, and the agendas, if you gotta know what they're saying. Just don't, the media and all that is really bad because you know who controls the media. So you got to look behind what's going on and talk to people from those countries and talk to people.
Well, so why are the ones who come here? Well, I guess I've sort of answered my own question.
Yeah, that's what you got that right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? How about maybe I should talk to more of the Chinese who probably moved to places like maybe a slightly more racially neutral country like Canada, and let's see what their perspective is. And they play that same shit ass game of I'm white and shit on blacks, and do that. And I'm going to say this.
The alt-right is growing in Canada, by the way.
Well, are they growing, or are they just migrating here like freaking?
No, they're growing in Canada.
No. They always been, but they're definitely growing more. I mean, they're getting a bigger presence there, of which is making of some Canadians a bit nervous. Like this is going on in Canada now. Oh shit, it's been going on for a while, but it seems to be growing. And this white man game is a real issue. Like I said, the reason why the racists come here to the United States is because Germany was a Nazi country, and they failed. The United States was successful. You remember, Hitler got a lot of stuff from Heinrich Ford and many of these other people, Henry Ford, from many of these others who had a lot of different ideas that he picked up, and engaged with in his country. This has been a successful Nazi country. This country has been. succeeded. It was a successful Nazi country like Spain, which was a successful fascist regime under Generalissimo Francisco Franco. All right. Over here, this was a successful Nazi regime. Not so much Nazi, but based on it was successful. This country was successful. That's why the heart of this motherfucker is a Medusa's head. It's evil. Because these people here are some hateful savages. I hate to put it like that, but that's why they migrate here, man. That's why, you know, people come here and become racist.
Why do you think?
You know, that's how they feel.
Did you know that the architect of apartheid, he came to the United States to learn what racism was? He came here to learn it.
They all learn. Well, he didn't learn what racism was. He learned how to put together his system the way.
Yeah, well, segregation. That's what I mean. Yeah. No, it was smart.
Yeah,
smart.
They understood that. They got a lot of shit from this place. You know,
yeah.
This country, has been the lead on that. You know, so that's why we have such problems here, because the true Nazis are here. You know, they've always been here. You know, and they've always.
All right, let's end it right here. Marvin, you have one last point you want to make? Marvin? Starving like Marvin, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to ask Nagone and the Black Torch and Xanatos. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I had one more thing to add in there. I think part of the reason why they won't let Black people go, as far as what I think was Xanatos, I think that was his original question, why they won't let us go do our own thing, is because in a sense, the old phrase, America always needs its nigger. It does. I mean, if you look at places like France has a low Black population, like 2 million, compared to us, like almost 40 million right there. I mean, they always have to have someone to blame their problems on. I mean, like what happened to France is losing its colonies, and now they have a lot. They're erupting all that social disorder because they don't have probably part of the reason they don't have a lot of a big Black population to blame their problems on. So maybe that has something to do. What do you guys think? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, Black people are basically a buffer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They almost have as niggas. Yeah, you're right.
It's a reflection.
Buffer.
It's a reflection.
That's what that phrase means. It must always have his nigga. That's what it means. We're a buffer. That's what it means.
But we're more than just that. You guys are missing the point. Most of the inventions that we take for granted, like the refrigerator, even in mundane things from potato chips to the digital cell phone, we Black people have contributed here for people who have been disadvantaged of how we were here. We have made so many strides in this country with one hand and both our feet tied behind our back, but we still survive and still create. We are the most creative people on this planet.
That has nothing to do with what he's saying.
Why would you? Okay, let me ask you something. If you knew you had the resources of created individuals, would you let them go?
That's the part. Okay, a lot of people are crazy.
Black people today are not contributing to the global outreach of dominance for white America.
Really? Really? I remember the digital cell phone has been the basis of. Wait! I'm just trying to make my point. The GPS and all that was done by a Black woman. There's things. See, they see more potential. Okay.
Minor victories.
Yeah.
In trying to extrapolate it across the globe, that has nothing to do with white people's identity.
No, but the question wasn't about white people identity. Xanatos's question was why they won't let us go.
Yeah,
and I was saying that it's more than just that. They need our labor and our intelligence.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I understand. I understand. You hear me, Mike? Mike, you hear me?
Yeah, I feel like I'm being talked over, and
I'm shutting up. Go ahead. I'm shutting up. I'm trying to get as much information as I can. Go ahead. Please go.
Yeah, I was trying to answer Xanatos Clutch's question.
I'm listening.
White people's position is predicated off black people's position in this country. That's why I said it's a buffer. All these, minor victories about cell phone development. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Nobody cares about traffic lights and shit being developed. They don't care about that. What is your place in proximity to them? That's what they care about.
Okay.
They don't care about all that stuff, man. Those little things, the dustpan and the broom, and it shit doesn't mean anything to them.
Okay.
You think when white people stop at a traffic light, say, Garrett A. Morgan, what a great guy. They don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
They don't care about the mailbox that they put their mail in every single day was developed by a black man. They don't care about all that stuff, man. They care about.
They got it already. What's the point? You're right.
What's up?
They got it already. It's here already. What do you got now? You're right.
Right. It doesn't have any intrinsic meaning to them. It doesn't mean anything to them. It's not like they're going to overturn racism or racist policies just because you invented a cell phone. They don't care about that stuff. They care about what is your place in proximity to them in the dominant society. And as long as your place is beneath them as a permanent underclass, that emboldens them. Their identity is very fragile in the sense that it can't not exist without black people's coexistence within the country. And so whatever, to answer, Xanatos Clutch's question as to why they won't let you go is a lot of niggas don't want to leave anyways. A lot of black people don't want to leave. They like being this close to the dominant power, and that feeds, the ego of their identity. So as long as there's a group of black people who want to stay close to them, that makes them feel good.
Unless there's a God there. If you don't have,
wait, one at a time, please. One at a time, please. One at a time. Y'all talking to each other.
I said there's a big economic component. That's it.
Yeah. Well, to a certain extent, there's a small economic component because if you look at black people's, household income per capita, it's not nearly enough to justify what they're doing.
You're right.
It's not nearly enough. 30% of black people don't even have $400 in their bank.
And they make a lot off you.
Hey, Mike. So the disconnect I'm getting. Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
That's America, but that goes across for a lot of Americans across the board. I'm just saying that they, that's for a lot of Americans.
Yeah, but
that's just for a lot of Americans.
Mike,
Americans
I gotta get
in contrast to black people.
Mike, can I ask you something?
Yes,
now,
sir.
what you just said about how we only like most average black American only like $400 in the pocket right there. But you still have, I have a disconnect about that. I just wanted to clear it up right there. Why did we contribute so much as far as to the hair industry and all the other things right there? We billions of dollars. If you got $400 in your pocket, I mean, something's not adding up here. So tell me, what gap am I missing right here?
Because black people are credit rich.
I'm not even mute that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, they're credit rich.
Black people spend a lot. We spend a lot, don't save a lot.
Okay, Mike, where did you get this? We don't contribute. Black people's spending power is $1.5 trillion.
That's credit rich.
That's credit though, right? That's credit.
Listen. There's a one thing I learned, whether it's dollar rich or credit rich, it's still the spending power is 1.5 trillion.
That's not your money. That's the whole point. That's the whole purpose.
But 90% of what we buy is not. When you get a house, you buy that on what? You buy that on credit. When you buy a car, you're buying that on credit. It still doesn't deter when they do the GDP spending power for Black Americans. Look it up. It's 1.5 trillion.
How is that contributing to black people's existence?
No, I'm just saying that. Okay, if you can, I give an example. That if 90% of the populations got their wealth in their house. What did the government did? It purposely redlined black neighborhoods so they can gouge them out of that money. That money was not credit. That was hard currency that they stole from black people.
We're talking apples and oranges here.
Okay, maybe I'm off. Okay.
Yeah, he's asking me as in reference to what Marvin is asking me is about black people's contribution financially to the country, and I'm saying you can go to most Black neighborhoods and see that there's very few banks available to them. That's why you have so many checks cash and Western Unions and MoneyGrams and stuff like that. Black people can't hold a bank account, can't maintain a balance. How much are they really contributing? Not contributing a whole lot. They get the money that goes inside their pocket, you know, comes right back out and it goes to other services and other liens and debts and things of that nature. It never stays in there.
Isn't that still keeping the system going though? Isn't that still keeping the system going? The hair, if all Black women and all Black men got out of the hair, if we just start doing our own thing, that would cripple industry. It would cripple them. Isn't that still, you know?
Yeah, but that's not what you're identifying is not a major economic driver of the country itself.
Okay, you're right, but it's still an industry though. It's still an industry driver.
Right? It's not, yeah, it's not like Black people are buying cruise missiles from Raytheon or something like that. And if we just stop buying, you know,
hey, Mike, one more one more thing. Hello, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember this old series called Black People Planning. I think George, what's his dude? I forgot the dude's name. He had he's dreadlocks. I forgot his dude's name. It's called but it was a TV show that came on HBO late at night, and they had one episode. It's like Twilight Zone for Black people. But it was what happened was this. On one episode, aliens came down and decided, you know what, we're gonna do something with your planet. We're gonna basically give you all this technology, all this stuff right here, and we're gonna basically all we want in return is basically a portion of your population to take with us so they can help us basically build stuff. And the United States and America started to say, let's send all these Black people there. Let's send all these Black people there. Then all these business industry titans got together, Nike and all these other people. They said, wait a minute, hold on, wait. They contribute all this money to the shoe industry, the hair, and some other stuff they had together. And then they try to put a stop to it. So things like that, I mean, that's not an economic contributor by doing that. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah, but that's not a major exporter of the U.S. It's not like
you talking about GDP.
Yeah, it's not like you know, this does not get exported out of the United States.
Okay, I understand.
It's not one of the United States' major exports. It's not like soybeans and other agricultural goods and stuff like that. Black people are not involved in any of these areas.
Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, I understand. All right, you're right. You're right about that. Okay, but okay, so that's not a major. But you're saying it's not a major contributor to our economy or just a global economy?
To the United States economy.
Okay.
Yeah, Black people are not involved in any of these areas. The Black people are cash poor. That's why the COVID crisis has been so impactful on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why fourth industrialization has been so impactful on them.
Yeah,
they're not major controllers or drivers of those markets.
Okay, all right. You probably talked about this before, and I know you're probably tired, man. If you want to get off, we can talk about this stuff. One last
question, and we're supposed to.
All right, okay. So about so you talk about the fourth industrial revolution and about everything that involves cryptocurrency and blockchain too, right?
Fourth industrialization is cyber connected systems. So
cyber connected systems. Yeah. So okay, all right, okay. Yes. So, all right, so the AI and automation, all that.
Yes.
Okay, so it has nothing to do. That's aside from cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Cryptocurrency becomes a part of it, you know, as an accessory to the industrialization. Go ahead.
Okay, since considering that right there, is it possible? Because I know you guys had a lot of blockchain talks I missed out on. If you answered already, I'll go back and look at some other stuff. If you can answer that, if you answered that already. But considering that, I know it's a good opportunity for Black people to get into cryptocurrency, maybe during like in my neighborhood right there. I live on the south side of Chicago right there. And a lot of my businesses around here are hurting right there. Wouldn't it be a good idea to basically start doing more mass adoption of cryptocurrency to basically balance off the cash flow strap we have right now? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I don't give financial advice on this channel, but we don't give financial advice, but I think you should study cryptocurrencies as a whole, just to get a better understanding and some literacy behind it.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. That's my last question, man. All right. So I don't want to keep you guys on. Thanks for having the conversation, man. It was hot tonight. I loved it, man. Thanks, man.
Hey, no problem, bro. Have a good one. And shalom to everyone else.
All right, man. See you later, brother.